therapy. He's hoping to be back tomorrow, and we're pretty certain that he will be. So Bob Cooney, Jamie Lynch, Connor Thomas in today. It's just the three of us. That's it. No Coach, no Egan.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Coach has his kid graduating from...
5th grade.
5th grade, right.
Is that a thing?
I know my kids went to 6th, 7th, 8th.
Is it a graduation, though?
I guess it's a moving on ceremony or get the hell out of here ceremony or something like that. Or now your parents are going to have to pay real money for you to go to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
I guess.
Whatever it is.
Congrats to Cam for graduating.
Congrats, Cam, for making it past the 5th grade.
Everyone says 5th grade's the toughest one. From here, it's smooth sailing.
Billy Madison historically struggled with 5th in particular.
Well, the Z's in cursive are very difficult.
Rizzuto.
Yeah,
those are R's.
Come on. It's tough.
Rizzuto, that's good.
Have you seen Billy Madison?
That's from the movie.
A little bit. Not a whole bunch of it.
He doesn't know cursive, so the teacher throws him Phil Rizzuto, and he makes the Z's because, cursive Z's are weird. He makes them like squiggly R's, and the teacher's like, Rarudo? He's like, Z's are tough. So anyway, that was a movie reference, Bob.
That's very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, not bad. So a lot going on here this morning. Doc Rivers had a lot to say about his time here with the 76ers. I thought it was really interesting, so we're going to hit that. Really interesting. So we are going to hit that throughout the day. Obviously, Phillies big win last night, 15 runs, James. Were you part of the country or part of the fandom that would say, don't score too much?
I do.
That happened.
Yeah, my dumb sports brain does that from time to time.
Jamie and I today, I'm going to put this out in the universe here to our YouTube followers, to anybody that wants to call it, 610-632-0975. Jamie and I have a truce, a studio truce. You have to tell me what it is. We know what it is. I want to see if you can guess what it is. So just a whole bunch of stuff going on. Connor's got his Philly shirt on, which he wears after every win.
Victory shirt.
Yes. And he is kind of, should I air quote, training today?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to air quote. That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay. Is the shirt, just give me a thumbs up. So is the shirt smell okay? Thumbs up okay? Whoa.
Iffy.
We got the iffy hand.
Why is it iffy? All right.
I think his training shot was more like, you're actually capable of training someone, not.
Yeah.
I think that was classic Bob snark.
I'm capable.
No, it was not at all. I didn't want to put Syl down and be like, she's still training. I was kind of saying, like, is it training or are we just...
I think it was more like...
No,
shock,
I was
like,
not being...
They actually let you do this, Connor?
Yeah, if she wasn't still training, I'd be in the parking lot with a beer. She'd be running the board. So, yes, still training.
Okay. Well, we
She's
got to
got
have a
it,
beer
though.
in the parking lot after the show.
That works.
I always have a cooler in there. All right, morning mind bender. We had no one to make it up today, but I looked one up anyway. So here we go. In a recent survey, it was found that a single person tends to do this twice as much compared to someone who is in a relationship. Can you guess what it is? Single person does it twice as much as someone in a relationship. Get that look off your face because
I have an idea.
My mind went right to the gutter.
Oh, mine went halfway
Wait a
to
second.
the gutter.
Your mind didn't have to go to the gutter. Your mind's already in the gutter.
All right, maybe. But, I mean, single, like, come on. The elephant
Say
in the room
it, coward. I don't know what you mean. Say it.
Master of your domain, as Seinfeld would say.
Okay.
But I don't think that's going to be the answer because I don't think that's where we're going. So I'm going to go with biting of the nails.
Oh, no. Come on. Come on, dude.
How the hell do you go to master your domain to biting your nails?
I don't know.
Is biting your nails like a frustration point of being the master of your domain?
That's how I was tying them together.
Okay. All right. Oh, my God. I'm figuring out your brain. It's scaring me.
I know. I have an idea where Bobby went with this, and it's something he's very fond of. Bobby likes to pass a little bit of the gas. And I'm going to go with flatulence as the thing.
A single person tends to flatulate twice as much as compared to someone who is in a relationship?
Yeah, if you're single, you fart more.
Huh.
Yeah, I can see the logic there.
I wish we had more people there. All good guesses. None of them right.
Were they good guesses? They were pretty bad,
They
probably.
amused me. That's all that matters. Text.
What?
That's what it says.
Where did you
Text.
get this from?
Dude, do you ever ask Coach where he gets his dumbass things from?
Yes, all the time.
No,
and
you
Egan
don't.
rips him for it.
Well, you can rip me for it. I looked it up. I looked up Morning Mind Benders, and this was number 7. And it's the one that
On morningmindbenders.com?
suited my fancy the most.
What was wrong with the first 6?
All right, the first one. More than 50% of people claim that knowing this fact about their partner is a sign of true love. What is this thing?
Their blood type.
How many previous partners they've had?
Go ahead, Connor. Try again.
Their blood type.
Try another one.
They're bra size.
Their horoscope
There's 100
sign.
girls taking it.
Their horoscope sign.
The love language.
All good guesses.
Their first name.
Password to their phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are dumb.
That's not true love. That's just being nosy. Anyway, 15-3 win by the Phillies over the Diamondbacks last night. The bats exploded. Connor, where did it all start?
Oh, my goodness. It started with...
Tell Jamie.
No.
Oh, are you ready, James? Kyle Schwarber, batting leadoff. Here comes the swing. Oh, it's a nuke to right field. He's the greatest leadoff hitter ever, Jamie.
They're 7-3 in their last 10 when he's leading off, James.
Because it's June.
7-3.
He's good to hit in
winning.
June, regardless if it's 1 or 3 or 4.
They're winning.
No, don't
it's
use the month.
June.
All
No.
you want to do is win.
It's June. He was going
I
to start
hear it's
hitting.
June.
I said all of this. I led the he shouldn't be leadoff hitter preface with that.
But you didn't say they would start winning. You said he would start hitting. They win when he's number 1.
Because they put him there the majority of the time. Put him at 3 or 4 and see what happens.
They did. They had him there earlier in the year. They
In
were
May
4
and
games
April when
under
he
500,
stinks.
Connor.
When he stinks.
Why are you so against this?
Because
Why
you guys
can't
are coming
ride
at my
the winning?
throat.
We're not coming at your throat.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get text messages last night in the first inning. Are you watching there, James?
I just want to make sure you were watching. We had a show to do.
Yeah.
A good point. Where were you watching the game last night, by the way? At a
On
local?
my couch.
Oh, really? I thought you took a picture of
No,
a...
that was Jamie.
Oh, I don't know.
Come on,
you were at a bar last
Pop
night.
can't read his text
Yeah.
messages.
My high school had a professional networking event in Conchi at a rooftop bar, and I said, I like bars, I like people, I'll go that.
Bars are a good thing.
Yeah, so we were at Great American Pub rooftop last night.
Love Great American Pub.
Gorgeous night. It was,
wasn't it?
Perfect night. Yeah, it was awesome.
Now, today we're supposed to get some rain, but it's supposed to be beautiful tomorrow. I go down to my...
Good. I laid some seed on Sunday. I was hoping for
did
the
you?
rain this week. Yeah.
Wow, you
Congrats
got it.
on the sex.
Yeah, well, wrong seed, but yeah.
Oh, my God. This is spiraling terribly out of control
You
right now.
started it.
I went
So
down.
rain's good.
So my wife has her office downstairs. So yesterday, around 2 o'clock, I always go outside and just do stuff. So I'm coming back in the house and I hear her talking on the phone. And she's like, no, you don't have to bring anything. Just bring yourself. Oh, it'll be so much fun, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm kind of listening and I don't recognize the voice on the other line. So she's inviting somebody over and I have no clue who it is. So she gets off and she's like, yeah. And I'm asking you guys if this is a violation or not. She gets off the phone and she says, yeah, that's my friend Michelle from work and her husband's away. So I told her to come over Thursday because it's going to be real nice and we can hang out, by the pool and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. If you want me to grill out, let me know. And then she says, well, wait, when do you have that thing that you have to do for the union or whatever? I said, that's Tuesday. She goes, oh, maybe I'll invite her over Tuesday instead then. I'm like, what? Am I that bad of a person that you can't have company over?
I think she's trying to take something off your plate.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a good move by Donna.
Yeah, I agree. And also, she's probably bored when you leave the house. She wants someone to hang out with. So she invites her friend from work over.
No, I don't think that's the case.
No, I think
Donna's
she's in the clear
embarrassed
here.
of me.
Well, I mean, that might be the case.
She probably is.
I mean, let's think a little deeper, and it's not that deep of a dive. She's just embarrassed of me.
I can't rule it out.
Yeah, me neither. All right, last night, so the Phillies go 15-3, great win. They started off early. Wouldn't have won the game without Kyle Schwarber leading off, as Connor and I both know.
Not
and
true.
pretty much any sports fan will agree with.
No.
But the bats are rolling. You got Wheeler on the hill, and he just was Wheeler last night. A little bit below, like the guys talked about it. I thought he toned it down a little bit because they had the big lead. But Tom McCarthy and Ruben last night were saying, he's not hitting the 98. He's only at 96. And they weren't saying it in a bad way. They were just noting it. Did you guys feel that? And I don't know how you were out last night, but did you feel, Connor, that he didn't have his stuff or that it was just kind of all right, it's 6-0?
I couldn't tell you a single pitch Zach Wheeler threw last night. Like,
Hey.
I was because of, and that should talk to why he didn't throw as hard velocity-wise. These guys feel it when they don't go out and put their best game out there.
Right.
When you get that type of performance early from your offense, you don't want to let off the gas, but naturally there's a little bit of less adrenaline. You're not going out there in a 0-0 game where it's like, okay, I got to throw 7 shutout innings against the Diamondbacks to win this. So he comes out, he's already comfortable, and I wasn't thinking about Zach Wheeler at all last night because the offense took him out of the equation in a good way. So, yeah, I don't mind that one bit.
No, not at all.
No.
The bats looked great last night.
Yes.
Everybody seems to be getting hot who needs to be hot. JT Realmuto, Turner with a couple more hits, Castellanos staying hot, Schwarber, of course, the best leadoff hitter maybe in the team's history.
Mm-hmm.
Are you feeling like a little turning of a corner, James, or no?
Yeah, I am. It feels a little bit like last year's kind of run. This is. I can't wait till Harper's ready to play first, so we can actually just get Schwarber out of the field. Schwarber. Yes, I'm sorry. Or Castellanos, but Schwarber more. No, Schwarber.
What happened on that play the other night?
He was lollygagging.
Like, what the holy hell are you doing?
I can't wait to not watch him play the field ever again.
I think he's getting there too.
Yeah. I think everybody's kind of coming into form. You're getting the Castellanos you thought you were getting a year ago. Real Muto is, when he's on his game, he's a top 2 or 3 catcher in baseball. He's incredible. So, this lineup's nasty. Once Harper finally turns the corner, I think this is going to be a nightmare for pitchers.
I think it's getting there
I think Harper is the final piece.
Closely.
Turner needs to be more Trey Turner, obviously. But when Harper finally snaps out of it and starts hitting with guys on base more and a little bit more power and pop, then I think this team is really cooking.
So
they're close.
I think the bats are. It's like watching a football team. You're always going to go to the offense, right? Baseball, you're going to go to the offense. I don't think I thought all year long going into the season that the offense wouldn't be a concern. It's showing not to be right now. People are coming around. I talked yesterday about how Kevin Long picked up a little tiny thing in watching tape of Trey Turner swing, and Trey Turner's like, I'm back. A week ago, he's like, yep, he found it. It was my right hip, and one of his knees just weren't following through correctly. It was crazy, but he seems to be totally on base right now. So I started labeling last night that you're kind of getting to the point of you need to win these games. I know it's early in the season, and Connor, we talked about it yesterday.
Arizona's good.
Arizona's a very good baseball team. And I'm not talking particularly about, last night, but are we not getting to the point of, and I'll give you some numbers.
Oh, you're absolutely at that point. We have to win.
Yesterday, I was like, you got to win tonight. You can't go losing 3 out of 4 and 2 in a row to the Diamondbacks. You got to win with Wheeler on the mound tonight.
You're at the point where every 5 series you need to win 4 of them, and that's hard. But you did that to yourself. They buried themselves. So they got to start winning more series. And they kind of had a little momentum going here with Nationals, Tigers, Dodgers, and if you can win today, that's 4 series in a row. That's what you got to do. That's the click you have to play at here.
Now, Connor, we talked a little bit yesterday about some of this, and you were kind of the, all right, slow down a little bit. It's not really there yet. Am I wrong to say right now we're getting into you kind of need to win these games here, like I was saying yesterday?
Yes, you're still wrong.
Okay. Yes, I'm right to say it, but I'm still wrong.
You're right to say that you were wrong to think that these are must-win.
Did you understand that a little bit?
I had some beverages last night. I have no idea what he just said.
I didn't have any beverages last night. I have no idea what you're talking about.
They're not must-win games yet. You're not in that category of...
Okay. All right. I'm going to prove your ass wrong here to Jamie.
You're not, but go ahead. Feel free to try.
89 wins is the average in the National League over the last 5 full seasons to make a wild card as the last wild card.
Yes, you're 2 games out right now of San Fran for the last spot.
In order to get 90 wins this year, the Phillies for the rest of the season would have to go 57-38.
Oof.
He doesn't think it's have to win now time yet.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from.
Explain yourself.
To go 20 games over 500, you still have to lose 30-something games the rest of the way. That doesn't make it must-win. Baseball's rarely ever must-win. When you look at games in that fashion, like it's football, like you have we're in week 14 and we got to win out. It doesn't exist in the sport.
But they've played 70 games and they're below 500, and they have to go 20 games above 500.
Yeah, they have to go 20 games above the rest of the way. They need to be better, but not every game is you can't look at it as
well, it's
must
not like
win.
Football must win, but they have to start winning. They have to win most series.
Well, to me, series must wins. That's different.
That's
must
kind of
wins.
where. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, last night I said this is a game. This is kind of a game they have to win.
Yeah, because it's a series on the line.
Well, they're playing
now,
4
your
in
reaction
Arizona,
was
so they could
perfect.
still split.
Your reaction right there was perfect. And for people that aren't on YouTube, Connor just like moved his head over to his shoulder and gave it the kind of look. How long can that go on for? It can't. Not when you got to win 20 more games and you lose, and there's only 95 to go.
You're below 500. I mean, like, things got to change now. Well, you don't have time.
I don't want to invalidate what you're trying to prove with that past 5 seasons, but to be honest, only the last season matters because the extra wild card spot has only existed for 1 year. So those other 4 seasons are kind of misnomers when it comes to the numbers you're looking at.
Misnomers.
They came in with 87 last year, which is still relatively close to the point you're trying to make anyway. But with the National League, I mean, the Mets are not good. The Cardinals stink. The Padres started off really slow. They might be able to get in at like 86, 87 wins again this year. So that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable too. And when I look at it as series might be must win at this point, or winnable series, you can't like have a series against the Nationals that you lose 2 out of 3. That's fine with me. But I'm not in. You get to a point when you start calling games must win where I feel like you're putting unnecessary pressure on each individual game. We're still pre-All-Star break. There's still a lot of baseball to be played.
They're still below 500.
Yeah.
Game. They're going to be all right. They're going to go out and they're going to smoke Oakland.
They're going to be all right if they win these kind of gotta win these games.
Well, now we're going kind of gotta. Like,
well, no, that's what I said. That's how I opened it up, saying yesterday to me was you kind of have to win tonight's game.
Yeah, you got to start stacking wins, but you're not in this individual game is must win.
No, but if your goal is to win series and you're down 0-1 in said series, if you lose the second one, you're going to lose that 4-game series in all likelihood. So, like, his point is you have to make it 1-1 so you have a shot of winning the series. It therefore is must win. Ergo.
Wow.
Ergo.
Brought to you by the law offices of Glenn S. Barry. Injured in an accident from big to small? Call 855 Barry Law for the personal attention you deserve. You'll pay nothing unless they recover money for you.
We throw out ergo. We got attorneys.
This is like the Frazier of sports talk radio.
Yeah.
We also have a truce right in this studio.
And I know
Jamie and I want to see if anybody else knows what it is. 610-632-0975, because it is just the two of us in here today. Minimal crew with Coach being out, with Egan being out. A lot of questions about Egan.
That guy whose name is on the show is out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's also out. Yeah, well, we talked about that.
What would you guess
earlier.
the Phillies' run differential is on the year?
Minus 30.
Connor?
They won by 12 last night, so they're going to be minus 26.
It's minus 22.
Yeah,
that's weird.
If you don't take into account last night, it's much worse.
Yeah,
like that. Like there's a lot that needs to improve.
Yes, there is, and I think it needs to improve quicker than Connor does.
I agree.
All right, good. See, Jamie and I agree. The Summer of Love Happy Hour at your local PJ Wellahan's. Fall in love all over again this summer at your local PJ's with a great happy hour specials every Monday through Friday from 4 to 6. You'll love PJ's food, drinks, and the people there. You might not love what we talk about when we get back because we're going to hit on a little bit of what Doc Rivers had to say about this 76ers organization after he was let go. This is the John Kincade
to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Glad to have you back. Busy day today. Doc Rivers comes out yesterday, talks about James Harden.
Did you find it weird how? Because we're going to get into it all show.
We are.
I found it kind of strange. Because I think he was truthful. If you're a Doc hater, you'll say he's deflecting away from himself. You know, like, oh, that guy won't fall on the sword for anything. But, like, oddly truthful for a guy that's still in the league.
I think it was the most insider look we've gotten to the Sixers since Embiid started playing.
Yeah, like it's up there for sure. Like,
I mean, Brett decided, all right, you fired me, I'm out. Thank you, see you, bye. Didn't go into it. All the general managers that they've gone through, obviously we know.
I think Burner Gate, you kind of learned some stuff.
A little bit, but it also came with a tinge of what's real, what's not.
True.
Doc is at a point, so I started thinking yesterday, like you said, Jamie, if this was a younger coach and got fired, well, no, they're not going to, air quote, throw the organization under the bus because they're looking for Doc's in a place where he's like, yeah, I'll spill the beans.
All right, Bill, what do you want to hear?
Yeah.
And the first cut I think you're playing, I don't know exactly, it has to do with Harden, right?
Yes, it does.
And we'll hear it in a second, but it's like very, his first, like I wonder what Daryl Morey and Elton Brand, because you know they listen to it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Either they say, hey, Daryl.
Dude, they listen to this show and take notes and make phone calls.
Hey, Daryl, come down to my office.
Love what you guys talk about.
Doc's on Bill Simmons' podcast. Why don't we take a listen to this? And if you're Daryl and Elton and you have to make a decision in, 2 weeks? I don't know. The first part of what he says about Harden is extremely telling to me.
Do you think he said anything that they didn't already know? I mean, I have to believe you're sitting around, you got your feet up in an office. It's Elton Brand, it's Daryl Morey, it's Doc Rivers.
Not that they didn't know, but I don't know if you want to hear that about your foundation.
In public.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like their sausage. It was exposed how their sausage is made. You know how you never want to see the sausage made?
Can't expose your sausage like that. You get in trouble.
So, like, their sausage being made is made public, for lack of a better comparison there. Like, it's somebody opened the curtain and was like, here, this is what it is. You're seeing the sausage being made.
Love the big wiener.
It was that. So let's get right into it. And Jamie, I wanted to talk to you, and we'll do this also, about some of the rumors that are going around about where the Sixers may go. There's a Bradley Beal. There's a whole bunch of Fred VanVleet, a whole bunch
and
of
none
other
of them
things.
are realistic. Because James Harden has them by the short ones, Bob.
He kind of does. But this is what Doc Rivers had to say about James Harden yesterday, and a topic that's on this show a lot, about his inability to play well, it appears, in the playoffs.
What makes James great is that he's one of the best individual players to ever play the game. You know, ball handling, handles the ball, dribbles the ball, attacks. But that also allows you to attack if you know where he's at and you know where the ball is at. And so in the playoffs, when teams are game planning against you, each game, double teaming, taking the ball out of your hand, making it harder, it's easier to do that. How do you take Steph out of a game? He's running around, he's moving, it's hard. It's funny. Steve Kerr, we beat Golden State, and Steve Kerr used that game and how we trapped him. If you remember in game 6 and 7, we started trapping. He used that and showed Steph like, hey, it's too easy in big games down the stretch to stop you because they know where the ball is at. You remember Chicago, Doug Collins used to let Michael bring the ball up the floor.
Right.
And then they got in the playoffs. You knew where the ball, you knew where Michael was at, and so you attack. Phil comes in, and the triangle was moving. Now, at the end of the game, Phil Jackson still went to pick and roll, with Michael Jordan. Having said that, it was the movement and the inability to find where you can trap him that made it so hard. And I think that's James' kryptonite, right now. But I don't believe the whole thing that he quits and all that stuff. I just think teams make him struggle because they know where they're at, and it's easier to find them.
All right, there's so much there to dissect. And the reason we played so much of it, and we're going to do this, there's about 4 or 5 clips that we're going to play throughout the day, and they're about a minute long, so stick with it. But I thought it was important to get all of it so that we could react to so many different things.
So that cut right before the way it was edited, dropped out the first 2 words. The first thing he said when asked what it's like coaching James Harden, and he goes, "It was challenging." That was the first thing out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Challenging.
Yep.
And then that's the answer he gives why it was challenging.
And it was so obvious when you listened to the part that he says ball, he dribbles the ball, and he's got the ball. Basically, he's walking through in his mind, looking at James Harden dribbling a basketball. And that's why that offense got stagnant. That's why they weren't able to beat the Boston Celtics with a 2-point lead.
Basically said he became a worse facilitator as the year went on.
Basically said that other teams figured out how to stop James Harden. But let's turn it a little bit. Does it not also say, and I couldn't figure out how to combat that?
Or I think he's saying I couldn't get him to do it.
That's probably more so of what it is, right?
I think the effort was there by Doc and it wasn't well received.
Connor, you think this is this Doc Rivers? Now, he also pads his resume. It's such interesting how it goes. So you start off by banging on Harden a little bit, right? And then you kind of go in,
to be honest.
Right? And not a little bit. Yes, you're right. And then you kind of go into, but he's a great player and he can score and he can attack. And then you go into, let's not forget, I was the one who figured out how to defend Steph Curry, and to the point where Steve Kerr had to ask me, "Oh, how'd you do that?" and had to combat that, and then finishes it off with, but it's all good. It can all be good. Like, what is your take on what Doc Rivers had to say here about James Harden in a playoff?
I mean, my biggest takeaway from the whole thing was kind of anti-Doc in that he talks about Michael Jordan, how Phil came in there and figured out like the triangle offense, everything they ran out there, whatever they did to make the offense work without Michael on the playoff level. And then he kind of was saying, I couldn't really do that with James Harden because obviously we see the results weren't there. He wasn't good in the playoffs here. He had a couple of games, but it looked like he struggled with that. To me, that says that, okay, there is a way to kind of disguise the offense a little bit more, to not have James Harden be the focal point where you see the ball, you go after him. I don't know. I took the end of that a lot more stronger than I did at the beginning because I think we all knew that about James Harden. He dribbles the ball a lot. He does this, that, and the other thing well. And I don't really care about the middle part where he talks about the Golden State. I don't care about Steph Curry. Steph Curry's got rings. Good on you that you found a way to defend him and Steve Kerr gave you props. I don't care. What I'm looking at is he says that other great players, there have been ways to create an offense where they're not easy to attack defensively, and he couldn't do that for Harden. So that makes me feel
But
like
I think that's the most concerning thing at the same time about re-signing him, because this is all looking ahead 2 weeks from now.
So it says.
So do you want to re-sign the guy that the coach of the last year and a half of him just told you, I knew how it should be done, but I couldn't get him to do it?
It says to me that Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers, at the end, were on two different pages. It says Daryl Morey wanted to bring James Harden in here. We all know that.
Oh, sure,
and that was fine in the trade. I agree with it 100%.
Did you hear Stephen A. the other day?
Which part?
He went on like a 2.5-minute spiel. You can actually check it out on my Daily Odds pod, bud. But he basically said, like, James wanted to go with Daryl to Philadelphia originally, but Tillman Fertitta. I like Fertitta. Said there was no way in hell he was going to send him to Philly, so that it ended up being this long roundabout way to get to Philly. He basically said, I don't believe this Houston thing at all. And basically the relationship with Daryl Morey is the reason this is all here and happening, and he believes he's going to stay in Philly because of it.
So here's
and he spoke like he knew exactly how and why
this is going to play out.
Yeah, like
okay.
he spoke as if like he knew the real story.
Well, here's what's really concerning. In Doc Rivers, you have a veteran coach. In James Harden, a veteran player. Daryl Morey's been around for a while. Did they not see that come playoff time that you're not going to change who James Harden is? I mean, did Doc Rivers really think that he was going to change him to a guy that needs to dribble the ball up, pass, come back and get the ball, and keep ball movement and himself moving in order to run an offense that isn't as easily stoppable as it was?
I mean, I think movement on offense was their biggest problem at the end of the day.
And that's not rocket science. Us dummies on here talked about it endlessly, about Tyrese Maxey standing in the corner, shrugging his shoulders, saying, "What am I doing?"
It was
here?
black hole basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, the two of them just sucked the universe into their possession and, would wait till 3-4 seconds left in the shot clock and then try to make something happen. And it resulted in bad shots and Embiid settling for lazy outside shots again. Robert Horry, I played it on Saturday. He was on with Steven Jackson and the other guy that was a former Sixer, Matt, the Up in Smoke podcast, Matt Barnes.
Oh, yeah, he was a former Sixer.
Yeah, why am I blacking? Yeah,
Okay.
he was with them. And Robert Horry basically said, shot selection is why Joel Embiid doesn't succeed in the playoffs. He was like, when I was playing, and it wasn't that long ago, it was all about just getting a bucket. Whatever has to be done to get a bucket. Doesn't matter if it's a three, a fadeaway, a hook, a dunk. It's about getting that bucket. And Joel Embiid just kind of settles come playoff time because he was basically like, why are you letting Horford defend you the way Horford wants to defend you?
He defended a finesse player because that's the only way he can defend is a finesse player. And they dove right into it.
Or he was like, take it to him. Take him down low. If he's defending you well at 15 feet, then change your game. And Horry just couldn't understand why, the Sixers offense was so crappy in the playoffs. He was like, nobody was getting a bucket. It's that simple.
I wrote something yesterday that the NBA, every league is a copycat league. I think there can be, and Joel Embiid is great at copying guys. He copies Hakeem moves, Jordan moves,
the Dirk move
Kobe.
one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He can do all that. I would watch film on Jokic on how he catches a ball facing a defense, and also Nick Nurse is on this. You got to have an offense that moves, and use Joel Embiid as a passer more than you have in this previous, in his tenure so far, and make him make him a capable passer because you're giving him passing lanes to throw to.
I would easily agree to 4 to 5 points less a game for 3 more assists
Absolutely.
per game from Joel Embiid.
No question about it.
I think it would, and after hearing these cuts on Harden, I'm fully in the camp now of either Tyrese Maxey or a veteran point guard, somebody else. Like, you can't pull a Van Vliet off easily, although I feel like I'm name-dropping everybody. Woj did have a very interesting comment on Van Vliet, I thought.
You have trouble saying Van Vliet.
Van Vliet.
Okay.
I think he's doing fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
No, it just seemed like you had a Van Vliet moment
Well, I
there.
used to always want to say Van Fleet.
Yes, you
and then
did.
I have to conscientiously double V Vinny Velo
Smile,
it. He did say something interesting about that, but after hearing these comments, I'm done with Harden. Is that too extreme?
No.
Because
I've
it told
thought-
me there's a guy that just won't change his ways.
I've started to dive deeper into that.
Well,
I was going to admit that earlier this week, but I'm
ready to move on. I think a fresh
into that.
start is needed.
you're not wrong, but the whole saying a guy stuck in his ways with James Harden, what do we know about Doc Rivers? Guy's super stubborn with not changing his game plan. It could have been a situation where you had two guys too similar personality-wise and neither would change. Maybe Nick Nurse has a different approach to that. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that Doc Rivers plays into that as well.
Yeah.
But he also came out and said, I tried to change things about him getting rid of the ball, moving, coming back and getting the ball. And we'll hear some more cuts later.
He can say what he wants about, I tried to change this, that, and the other thing. All I know
he
is,
might be deflecting.
Yeah, multiple spots he's been to in the past, people have said that he does not change to a fault, to the point where he's losing series because he won't make adjustments that we've seen here before, and in L.A. and other places.
Well, you can probably just say the same thing about Harden.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, they could be looking in the mirror, Spider-Man memeing each other like,
it's possible.
oh, you don't change either? Either do I. Either do I. Hey,
yeah,
cool.
and it's easier for a guy that has the ball in his hands to say screw you than it is a guy trying to yell him to change
Yeah,
stuff, so.
and I'm just at the point where it's player-driven. Like, I don't care if Dr. James Naismith was coaching the playoffs. Like, the way Joel Embiid and James Harden played in Game 6 and 7, I don't care who the coach is.
Well, he'd take 60 games to figure out why
agree
there
with
wasn't a peach basket. I don't know that he'd be a good coach.
Yeah, that's a good
He was a
point.
good man.
But,
Hey,
it's on the players. This is a player issue.
oh, no question.
I don't care who the coach is. Phil Jackson can walk
I
through that
got
door.
to that point also, and I said it on these airways. I'm just at the point go ahead, surround Embiid with whoever, bring in the coach, whoever, until I see something different, drastically different as far as scheme goes. I don't know what to expect. I don't know
Yeah.
that anything's going to change. Hey, Colonel Seasons are available now at Giant Foods. With Colonel Seasons popcorn seasoning, you can turn up the flavor on popcorn. Just add interesting with Colonel Seasons today. Available in the popcorn aisle. You love yourself some popcorn, James.
I do.
You had a burger late last night, huh?
I did. Yeah. I woke up with a little heartburn in my old age.
Oh, no.
That's a rarity for me.
Knock back some Tums, you'll be all right.
Yeah, this stomach is it's seen worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah?
And I woke up and I was like, oh, that doesn't really happen to me. I don't get the heartburn.
You're kind of
very
an
often.
iron gut kind of
Yeah,
guy.
very much so. So I was
Yeah.
surprised to wake up with a little agina, you know?
Yeah, well, that's not good.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what is good, James? How about we got Fan Fest coming up? You're going to be there. You better be there. Well, 97.5 The Fanatic, we're excited to announce Fan Fest 2023 with FanDuel Sportsbook. It's Sunday, August 26th from 11 to 5 from Xfinity Live. It's the 10th anniversary of Fan Fest, and we have some very special guests that have signed on to appear that day, which we're going to announce in some days coming up. With this being our 10th anniversary, we are also thrilled to not have one but two national recording artists scheduled to put on two concerts that day. Our headliner will be announced in the upcoming days. It's a free event, but you have to win tickets or grab tickets via an online ticket raid to get in. Or, Connor, we could do this. I can have people call in and tell us, why do Jamie and I have a truce in this studio?
You could do
What is the truce? If you get it, if you call in at 610-632-0975, bring some sports conversation. Tell me what mine and Jamie's truce is, and I'll give you a couple of tickets to Fan Fest.
What if it's the wrong answer, but a creative answer? Because I went in there last break.
Don't you worry about it. I'll handle that as it comes along.
Okay. Well, I'm just making sure you're prepared.
I am, and I appreciate your checking in on me as you do, because you're a good man. Hey, when we get back here on the John Kincade Show, talk a little bit more Phillies, more Doc Rivers stuff, because it was way too interesting not to dive deep into it all. This is the John Kincade Show here.
Media Group Station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show here at 97.5 The Fanatic. Bob Cooney, Jamie Lynch, Connor Thomas today. Don't forget, every Wednesday this summer, go to the coolest happy hour on the planet, the Center City Sips Happy Hour at Pagano's Market and Bar at 2001 Market Street. Enjoy great prices on drink specials, craft beers, and half-priced appetizers.
Wait, today's Wednesday.
Dude, it is.
And
Are you going
sundresses.
tonight?
Oh, wait, I'm off work tomorrow.
Oh.
Maybe I will pop by.
I
Say hi to Matty Pagano.
Pop by.
Yeah, pop by
Pop by.
for like a couple hours.
Do beers taste better in the
7.
summertime, or is it just me?
No, yeah, it's science.
Of course. Why wouldn't they?
Science says so?
70
well, I don't know. I think they taste pretty good in the winter,
75
too.
to 90 is like the sweet spot.
Is it really?
You don't like once it's 91 degrees, the beer doesn't taste as good?
It's just not as good.
I disagree.
It's still good.
I
like-
think the hotter it is, the better they taste.
Then they get the warm too quick.
You got to drink faster.
Wow.
I think it was Sunday. Did like a lot of stuff or whatever. Sat down at night and popped open an ice cold. Now I have the kegerator too, but I decided to do a bottled beer. So I popped open an ice cold Corona, and I swear to God, I don't know why it tasted like the best beer I've ever had. It was like perfect temperature. I was inside. I wasn't outside, but perfect temperature, great taste. It was just perfect.
Do you know the best beer I've ever had, Bobby?
The next one?
Exactly.
I'm of that ilk too.
And one's coming at Pagano's later today during Sips. It's going to be great.
Sips has been around for a few years,
A while, yeah.
right?
Yeah. They had a
Okay.
little break during the pandemic, obviously, like everything did. And then when I came back, great event. Love Sips.
All right. Speaking of eating and stuff like that, you did some cookies last night? Was that last night that you went?
Yeah, we were leaving the event and Insomnia Cookies. It was like, I don't know, 10:30 or something. And my buddy has like the biggest sweet tooth in the world.
Oh, your buddy does.
Bigger than Egan?
On par with.
Oh,
maybe
wow.
not as ice cream centric as Egan, but sweet tooth nonetheless. And we're walking by, and I didn't even know there was an Insomnia in Conshohocken. And we were walking down Fayette Street, and all of a sudden, the purple lights hit him, and he just stopped and looked up and was like, "What? Insomnia Cookies on me? Let's go!" And so I had
He did it in his Cookie Monster voice,
yeah,
too.
basically. And I had a nice snickerdoodle.
Oh, yeah? So my daughter's huge at another cookie place where she gets like a variety of cookies.
Crumble.
Yeah.
I think Tobias Harris is like
Is he a cookie crumble guy?
either he has part ownership or got some equity
really?
with them. Something. I think. Yeah. He has
I didn't know that.
I think he has a small little piece of the pie there.
He's got a crumble of the cookie.
Yeah.
So-
I was just thinking.
You just got one cookie.
Yeah. I mean, I could have eaten like 6, but 10:30 at night.
Yeah, and they're a little expensive. I mean,
I think they're like $2.75
That's
a
not too
cookie.
bad. A cookie?
A cookie.
But yeah, she comes home with now. You know that the one area of discipline I do have is I stay away from the sweets.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that.
I just do. I don't know why.
But you could see a warm chocolate chip cookie come out of the oven and not eat it.
So she comes home with this variety thing, like where there's 6 or 8 cookies, and they're all like people. It's like bees going to honey at my house when she walks into it. She just opens it and they're like, oh, and the knife comes out and they all just start cutting pieces and ripping it apart.
Wait, what are they like? What's the sound they make?
Like they're it's
you
almost
abstain.
orgasmic. Yes, I abstain. Yeah,
How?
I'm not kidding you. I really
Can't have a bite of cookie? Live a little, Bob.
I just don't, because if
No,
I
I'm
have
with
a
him.
bite, it's going to turn into more bites.
But if you have
and
control
all
enough
that.
not to eat them, then you should have control enough to just have a bite.
Should. Well, it's much like anything. If you're addicted to something, you're not just going to dabble. You can't dabble.
I'm not addicted to cookies. I just like them a lot.
He can quit anytime he wants to, Bob.
If you want me to go cold turkey with cookies right now, I'll do it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think you could.
I'm not physically addicted to
I
cookies.
smell a cookie bat.
You were addicted to something else.
Zyrtec.
Zyrtec.
Yeah, I developed a physical
So
addiction
you have that
to it.
addiction quality about you.
That's a drug. I think that's a little different than cookies.
Yeah.
Like I have a buddy
Some
who was
may say
addicted to
cookies
Propel.
are a drug.
Yeah, one of my buddies got addicted to Propel in college to the point where he would drink like 6 a day, and if he didn't, he'd get the shakes.
Yeah, I would. So I took Zyrtec for so long because I had to talk to my doctor about it. Because if I didn't take it for a 36-hour period, I would break out like a crackhead, like physical itching, like all over.
How old were you? This was college?
No, this was. I was probably like
A couple years ago?
maybe 7-8 years ago.
And you were
Jamie's
taking
under
it
the
why?
bridge.
Because I have really bad allergies in life, and I always just took Zyrtec as the over-the-counter medicine. And then I realized if I didn't take it for like a little while, it was usually like 36 hours, I'd literally be like crawling in my own skin, like itching myself.
He's down there at Catholic under a bridge. Just like, you got any tech? Yeah, let me get some tech.
Yeah, man, you
That's
going
we
in? Can you
shouldn't
buy
laugh
me
at
some
these
tech?
things. Hey, if
got
you're
that
injured in
ZT?
an accident, big or small, call 855-BARRY-LAW for the personal attention you deserve. You'll pay nothing unless they recover money for you.
But the stuff works. I miss it.
Do you take other medication for your
No,
allergies?
because we couldn't pinpoint what it was. So it's a slippery slope. I can't go back into Claritin's. I don't know if it's the same thing. And
There was only
so
one.
I went cold turkey. I just quit it.
I see. Good for you. There's
But I
only
miss
one.
it.
Only one allergy medicine ever worked for me, and it was called Actifed.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, they took it off the shelf for some reason. I don't know.
Probably because there was something addictive in it.
I didn't get the itchies, but
There's
there
a class
probably
action
was.
Zyrtec lawsuit out there. Somebody holler at me so I can hop on board with that one.
Yeah. Well, in the linchpin, Jamie wants to talk about something that may be the most consistent sports thing here in Philadelphia.
This is the linchpin.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I was, doing some reading last night for the show purposes before I had my drinks, like the responsible adult I am, Bob.
Very good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And it came up that PFF has named the Eagles' offensive line the best in the NFL again. It's almost getting boring at this point. Like, how many people are always like, yeah, the Eagles are the best offensive line. It's just like every year you kind of expect it now. And it's so much so, it's so consistent over the majority of my life that I think it's hands down the best thing Philadelphia sports does. Like, if you kind of consider, like, the Phillies are just like a roller coaster. They don't really have a farm system. There's not like one thing they do great. Now they're great at spending money. I'll give them that.
Yeah, they are good at that.
The Eagles, they so many quarterbacks, inconsistency all over the place. Sometimes defense is great. Sometimes it's horrible. Sometimes the coaches are great. Sometimes the one constant with them is the offensive line. The Sixers, I don't even know what the hell their constant is. And the Flyers, God knows.
Well, my first thought went to the Flyers.
Consistently bad?
Consistently unable to find a goalie.
Well,
That was like one of the most consistent things before Carter Hart got here. Now he may be on the trading block.
you found
depending
Bob.
on-
And you
Yeah, but they got rid of him.
him.
Yeah.
For some unknown reason.
And his team got crunched last night in Game 5.
Yeah.
Did
My
you- no, you
point
don't
with it is there's no consistency like outside of the Eagles' offensive line being great.
And it's been great since pretty much Runyon and Trey Thomas.
More or less since Laurie took over. Like, it took like 2 or 3 years for them to get Runyon and Trey in place. And then since then, there really has been no looking back. I mean, you're cranking out Hall of Fame tackles on the regular. I mean, Lane Johnson's going to be a Hall of Famer. Jason Kelsey's going to be a Hall of Famer. Jason Peters was a Hall of Famer. And then you have Trey and Runyon who were damn close.
I think they belong.
So you're just consistent. Like, it's almost like to the point where it's taken for granted.
Think
you know
of the
what I
left
mean?
tackles that have been here during your lifetime.
They've all been great.
It's been
Trey,
no, but there's only been like 3.
Trey, Jason Peters, and
Mailata.
yeah,
Well, let's not. That's Big V erasure. Let's give him his respect.
sure. But he was a swing guard
Fill in,
slash tackle
yeah.
slash
Super Bowl winner.
yeah.
You go against what we're talking about.
It's just
Okay, sorry.
it's by far the most consistent thing that Philadelphia sports does. I can't find anything close to it.
You see pictures of Jeff Stoutland, right?
He was at he played Marion on Monday with Rob McElhenney.
So that was
His
my
calves. Do you see those things?
Well, this is my point.
That's the first thing I
Every
looked
time
at.
you see a picture of him, it's with his offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, oh, Jeff Stoutland, yeah, he's the small guy right there, among all the trees. And then I see the picture of him at the golf outing. The guy is a monster.
He's yoked up.
He's all yoked up.
Yeah.
How do you think he hits a golf ball?
Hard.
Yeah.
Probably.
But like, I guess my point with the offensive line is it even precedes Stoutland. Like, Stoutland gets all the credit now, and rightfully so. He's great.
No, you're right.
But it was even prior to him. It's
Now-
like Jeffrey Lurie was just like, whatever happens under my stewardship, have a great offensive line. Make it happen. Do whatever it takes. And it's always great.
If you're building a football team, is that where you start?
Yeah.
No question, offensive line?
There's a little question.
Defensive line,
Quarterback.
too. Well, quarterback's pretty important.
Yeah,
But if you have a good quarterback without a line, what do you have?
exactly. And if you have a good line without a quarterback, what do you have?
A good line.
Yeah,
That's it.
And you can still run the ball.
Yeah.
I know. Your
Like-
point proven.
Yeah, like I guess it's a credit to Laurie and Howie and like even Joe Banner before that. Like I believe in how they do their business. Like it's just always great.
And we were talking yesterday that you're on the cusp of probably losing, not probably, but you're on the cusp of losing Kelsey and Lane Johnson.
And I have no doubt they'll
Because
replace
it
it officially.
appears, I mean, in Cam Jurgens, it appears, according to Jason Kelsey, the guy who he'll be replacing,
Yeah.
you're not going to lose much of a step. And then with the draft picks that they've done over the last couple of years, it appears if Lane Johnson moves on, you have people at the ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just who do you think's the mastermind behind offensive line? Do you think it's a Jeffrey Lurie hands it down to his GM and says, "This is what you approach first"? Is it luck? I shouldn't say luck. Is it just that they draft so well at that position?
I think
Whoever's
Jeffrey
in charge of that?
Lurie is a great owner because he listened to the right football people originally, and I think it all goes back to Andy Reid, honestly. I think, Andy Reid apparently wowed Jeffrey Lurie when he came in here with his 5-year plan and the famous binder and all that. And I think Jeffrey Lurie is a great owner because he listened to somebody he trusted and made the right hire with. And I think Andy Reid is responsible for the foundation of the Eagles. But he couldn't have done it without Jeffrey Lurie, obviously. But I think it all goes back to Andy Reid. And then Lurie and Banner and Howie and, the revolving door of GMs and executives and front office all went, yeah, that's our organizational philosophy. It's right.
Their left tackle position that we talked about during your lifetime basically have been 3. It's almost like the head coaches of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, kind of.
It just doesn't change.
I know.
And it's always good.
And I saw the PFF thing yesterday, and I went, and man, they just lost one of their starters.
Yeah, everybody forgets that.
And it's
Isaac
just like
Seumalo's gone. They're
it's
still
not-
number 1.
Yeah, like it's not even a thought. It's just like, oh, well, they have Cam Jurgens.
And the praise, if there was one guy to lose out of that offensive line, I think we all would have agreed, okay, Isaac Seumalo, all right, that's not.
Yeah.
But the way the other offensive
But
linemen have
Kelsey
come back
talks
and
about
talked,
him
yeah,
like he's the most important
smartest
piece of the 5.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable how good they are at what they do.
You know what else is good? Half-price wing night at PJ Wellahan's. The next PJ's half-price wing night is this Tuesday from 4 to 9. Dine-in only, so bring the whole family to PJ's for half-price wings, including PJ's Wing of the Month, the Alabama White.
What?
A Southern barbecue favorite. It's rich, it's creamy, and it's tangy.
Ooh.
That has Jamie Lynch written all over it.
Yeah, I might have to pick a. What day is it today? Tomorrow?
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
What day is it today?
Today's Wednesday, Jamie.
Wednesday. All right,
Yeah.
so Tuesday.
How late were you out last night?
A little later than
Little
I
late?
anticipated.
Well, I'll tell you what. You weren't out late enough that we can't give away a pair of tickets to FanFest. That's right. 610. No,
Nope.
what's the number?
215.
215-263-0975. First 5 callers. I'm giving away 5
Why don't we
pair.
say the number again?
215-263-0975. You get 2 pair of tickets to FanFest.
That's the event.
Yes. All right.
You okay?
We can do
Flawless.
Smile, Bob.
I'm doing all right. I'm feeling good today. I don't know why. Connor's trying to get on me, but I'm not going to let him.
I'm not trying to get on
Speaking
you.
of Connor, he needs to talk to us about some Phillies pitching right now.
Absolutely, I do. So,
Yeah?
great start by Zach Wheeler last night. That's how you say his name. Ranger Suarez has been better. He's still working everything out.
Ranger was awesome on Friday.
No, I know. He's been better. I'm just saying there's not enough
He's
of a
about to
sample
break
size.
through.
Dude,
I
they have
agree.
been great lately. The whole pitching staff, except for Aaron Nolan and the
Yeah,
four,
think about last week.
4 relievers that I don't know whose names are because of whatever.
And into Wheeler
but-
last night, it was their best week of the year.
That's my point. So my question is, now I'm going to put your feet to the fire here.
Ooh.
This is not right now. This is just in general.
if you're going to, just real quick here, if you're going to put a body part to a fire, wouldn't you want it to be the bottom of your feet?
I'd go hands.
I think hands are the most sensitive. Maybe not, because you can put.
Well, we
hot
all
or
know what the
cold
toughest
water.
skin on the body is.
I know that, but wait,
I don't. Why don't you explain to me?
the toughest skin on the body? Is it really? What?
Do I have to take you back to science class, Bob?
Yeah.
Probably.
It's like rhino skin, man.
Really? I guess you're right.
What is, Jamie? Why don't you?
We know what he's
Okay,
talking
we're
about.
moving on.
But anyway, feet to the fire just never really
Glad-
made that
yeah,
much
I mean,
sense
I don't want
to me,
that in the fire, but I'm just saying if you're going by skin,
Depends
because
what kind of fire we're talking about here, Jay.
the bottom of your feet is pretty tough.
So go ahead,
Con.
How am I supposed to go ahead after that?
Pitching.
Feet to the fire. Phillies.
Pitching, great. Okay, but looking the rest of the year, is Aaron Nola, like if you had to rank the starters right now for the Philadelphia Phillies, the 4 starters, because of course we know they don't have 5, is Aaron Nola 4 out of 4? I'm not saying right now, because clearly right now he's 4 out of 4. The other guys have been throwing better than him. But for this season going forward, do you feel comfortable saying that Aaron Nola is the worst option on this staff?
No, I'm not comfortable saying that because I haven't seen enough from Walker yet. I have more of a history to fall back on with Nola. I don't have that equity yet with Walker. And judging about the way my Mets friends talk about him is that wheels fall off late in the season too.
Gotcha.
So I am uncomfortable saying Nola is 4 of 4
Okay.
because of Walker.
Robert?
But I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Jamie's answer is a good one. I think Walker has rounded into form. I really do. Wheeler's Wheeler. Suarez, I think, is going to be fine. Yeah, I would have to put him
So
4-4.
Walker-
And it's not recent bias either.
Walker and Nola pretty much have the same exact ERA right now. Nola still has a 1.1 whip. Walker's at 1.33.
Yeah.
So they're very comparable.
Well, Nola's ceiling's higher. But
Oh, absolutely.
let's put it this way then. If you had a playoff series starting tomorrow, would Aaron Nola be the 4th guy on the mound for you?
No.
No, because of his playoff experience, I think I'd make him behind Wheeler.
Okay, so it'd go Wheeler, Nola, Suarez.
I'd still keep him 2, but I'd have a real quick hook because of how good the bullpen is.
Gotcha. So there is still some faith there that his ceiling is where we believe it to be.
But you know what's weird? Is there anybody that loses your confidence quicker of the 4 pitchers
No.
than Aaron Nola?
No.
Right? So there is.
Even in that
Not
no-hit
only-
game, I was like, all right, when's the mistake coming? Oh, he just hung 4 breaking balls out of the zone. It's coming. And then
But
boom.
it's weird. He also had some great games that helped them get to the World Series, obviously, last
It was a
year.
no-hitter through
We
7
don't-
1/3, and I was like, when's the mistake coming? That was all that was on my mind.
See that? Do we look at Aaron Nola wrong?
No.
He's
No.
given us enough really good for us to say he's really good. But like you said, he gives you 7 1/3 of no-hit ball, and you're waiting for the mistake. Like, we're not going to look at Taijuan Walker like that. We're not looking at Ranger Suarez like that. Certainly not Wheeler.
Because he's shown more flashes of greatness than the others.
So that's why we're waiting for the bad to happen?
Well, the talent is undeniable.
Yeah.
But this team's too good to just rely on talent. You have to be consistently good. I don't care about 1 start out of 4. This team can find a pitcher. Well, no, I don't mean to say it that way, where they're just like Aaron Nola grows on trees, because pitchers as talented as him do not. But this team needs guys who can consistently give them starts so that they can realize the potential of what this payroll is. I don't think he's that guy.
But he is a legit, most times, he's having a down year this year, but yeah, I mean, he's a legit 2 in this league.
He's DeGrom-esque almost in that he's not.
When he's DeGrom-esque.
Well, in that he's not that talented, but like DeGrom's always hurt. Like DeGrom should be a no doubt every team in baseball should want him. There will be GMs though, presidents of baseball ops. If you talk to him, say, I don't know if I could pay that man the money he would command because he's always going to be hurt. He's hurt again this year for the Texas Rangers. Nola's in that type of vein because sure, you can't deny the talent when he's on, but the consistency is not good enough for some people to want to give him that payday.
If you can bring him back here and the salary is okay, I'm all for it. And for this reason, people, oh, no, you can't bring him back. Okay, you still have to throw out 5 starting pitchers.
He's not coming back, Bob.
I'm saying if you can afford it and you're okay with the money, and I'll use a Jamie phrase, it's not my money, so I don't give a crap.
Yeah, go
You
broke,
still
Milton.
have to throw out 5 starting pitchers. If you're going to say he's not good enough to be in your starting 5 rotation, I think that's more of a mistake than anything.
He is, but somebody's going to pay him what he wants to get paid.
Okay, I'm not. I didn't bring that into the equation.
Right. No, I got you. I'm not saying throw Aaron Nola out, he stinks. But I'm saying he will get the money that he was asking the Phillies for this offseason when they didn't want to give it to him. Like, some team will give him that amount of money. He's that talented, and it's also that ego thing of, okay, we can fix him, we can make him more consistent. Or it's just our organization stinks and we need to pay somebody to make the fan base feel like we're competing, so let's give Aaron Nola $200 million. He's going somewhere else.
5 for 200, you think?
Probably 6 or 5.
If he gets that, what's Ohtani worth? I mean, we're talking
million.
Yeah, we're talking about $500 million for this guy. Yeah. Like, if Aaron Nola of the world is worth $200 million, and there's a really good shot he gets that, like, does Ohtani say, "Give me a bill"?
Yeah, John Middleton says, "Okay, here we go."
He could,
like, right? Like, he's a better pitcher than Nola. And he happens to have, 24 home runs already?
10 for $1 billion.
I think he's got 20 to lead the American League. I think he just says 20.
If that's the scale, Ohtani's worth $1 billion.
That's crazy. $1 billion to play baseball.
Yeah, could you imagine that being your worth? Not a company you built, nothing. Your ability to hit and throw a ball.
Yeah, like nobody's ever done before.
Cool, $1 billion. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Hey, Tasty Cake Dom's on the line. Let's get in touch with him. Dom, what's going on? You're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, Bob. Hey, James. Connor.
How you doing, buddy?
Okay, I'm listening. I called in because, Bobby, Aaron Nola is my favorite Philly of all times. He's my favorite
That is
Philly
not a correct statement.
ever.
I know he's a big Nola guy.
He can't be your favorite of all time, Dom.
Well, what happened, Bob, is as this thing started so years ago, and Jamie, you noticed, Jamie used to mention Nola and his potential, and I started watching starts, and I became addicted to the guy. I do not miss an Aaron Nola.
Yeah, he's not lying, Bob. He loves Nola.
I that's okay that you love Nolan. I'm not Dom. You can love whoever you want. I'm not going to tell you not to. I just find it surprising. You and I grew up together, separately together. Of all the Phillies teams that you've seen through the years, I don't know if Aaron Nola's in my top 100.
Yeah. Well, what started to happen, Bob, is, and I'll make this quick, is as the tide started to turn, I felt like I became his defense attorney.
Fair enough.
I would be out on my route and I would get hammered about Nola. John has hammered me about Nola. Everybody's and because I had his jersey.
I know exactly where you're coming from. Yeah.
And now it's what I wanted to tell you now is now I kind of cringe a little bit when he starts because I'm worried about, I'm going to go out on the route the next day, and it was the same way with Ben Simmons. I mean, you become a fan and attach yourself to somebody, and then when
you can't let go.
Well, in my world, in your world too, Bob. I mean, you talk to 80 million people a day. You go into a store, and the Pepsi guy on my route is a rat Celtic guy, and the first thing I got to hear is about Ben Simmons for years, and he chokes and everything like that. So and so when your guy that you align yourself with underperforms, you take when you're so kind of passionate about the guy and what he's going to be, you take the repercussions for it.
Sure. You might even like him more than you really want to because you have to defend. Dom, thanks so much. It's so good to hear that you're feeling better. You sound so much better, and you got a fan club here.
And vice versa. I'm so happy that Jamie's here this morning.
That makes
I love when you guys are together. God, I'm praying for John. I mean,
Sure.
I know that when you have something, an ailment or whatever that prohibits you from doing what you love to do, that's tough. So prayers to John, and you said he's going to be back with you guys tomorrow. I hope I hear him.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Dom, thanks for the call. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of the day.
It's basically like he became a sports hipster.
Yeah.
With Aaron Nola. It was like, well, everybody's against him. I'm going to go the opposite way and defend him. And I used to find myself in that camp too because me and Anthony used to get into it.
Yeah.
because I would be like, oh, he's got one, like he's a 2, but he's got one potential.
Or you have a favorite character in a TV show, and it turns out that character is actually like behind the scenes, like not a good character. Like they're one of the bad guys, and you're like, oh, I liked him early. I already invested so much time in him, so now I got to stick with him.
My friend Rock is the master of it. He'll get on. He'll sit on a hill for so long that I'll be like, dude, you don't really believe what you're saying. You're just doing it because
Couturier Hill?
Couturier sucks. Harden sucks. Ben Simmons would be better here than James Harden. He's got
to get off
that hill. That's a volcano.
D'Angelo's one of the top 5 defensemen in the league. Ooh. Now, Rock, I love you to death. I'm just pointing out some of the things I disagree with. Most of his takes, like 95%, are
Tell
correct.
us more why you hate Rock.
No, I love Rock to death. Hey, listen, when we get back here on the John Kincade Show, we're going to dive a little deeper into Doc Rivers and what he had to say to Bill Simmons. This next one, I think, is pretty damning because it talks about the Sixers organization as a whole.
On Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Hey, thoughts to all of you who are affected by this I-95 tragic accident that went on. It's just crazy. I feel bad for the residents that people are going down their streets.
And the business owners, too, because,
right, that no place to park to go into their businesses.
Yeah, like if I have a lunch shop, that I love to go get a hoagie from, and now I can't get to it because of just headache of traffic and backup and all that, like, that business owner is now affected because a regular doesn't want to go get a hoagie because they have to deal with 35 minutes of traffic and something that normally takes them 6 minutes.
Yeah, so hopefully the city does a great job of getting this taken care of as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's even bigger than
federal.
This is a federal. That's an interstate. That's a big. It's a big road, that 95.
Yeah, it is, and prayers out to the family, the guy who lost his life,
Pensauken.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah, it is, and I tell you, it's funny. I'm watching the news last night. I don't know if you guys have like go-to reporters that you really like. Like I look at it as a news thing only. I think Annie McCormick on Channel 6 is a phenomenal reporter.
Yeah.
And like in different avenues. And I really have an ear for reporting only because that's my training or whatever. I do. I think she is unbelievable at getting stories and telling them. I didn't like something about the coverage last night, and that was that it kept showing. Now, they came up with footage of the actual accident. Mm-hmm. It's a local person. We have to remember that there's family and friends out there, and them consistently showing that. Yeah. I was wondering, and I'll ask you guys, like, of course I looked at it. When I heard there was footage, I looked at it. Is it a little insensitive there? Do you have to have a little sensitivity factor in there, or is it the part of the story?
Well, the way it was first reported when it happened, like that morning, it seemed a little.
It was weird because you didn't know where the truck came from, who the driver was. Like,
it was almost made it seem like the truck was parked under 95, so like it was kind of part of
in this day and age, you wonder about.
Yeah, sure. So like it was part of the story, but I didn't need to see it as much as I saw it. Like it was texted to me, I saw it on the news, I saw it on Twitter, it was just like it was a lot. But it was a part of the story, so I get it to a degree. It's just like, once it's out, how do you cage it again? You can't.
I also think the quality of the video has something to do with it, too. It doesn't excuse it. Like, if you think it's not right to show that over and over and over again as much as they have, then I get it. But super grainy footage, like, it's not as graphic as maybe some other instances would be. And that doesn't make it easier for the driver's family and everything like that. But for the general public, if you're thinking about that as a newscaster, you might see that and say, oh, it's just grainy footage where you can see a little bit of fire.
Yeah.
And you may not consider it in the same thing as if it was like clearer footage of what happened.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like
once it's out, it's out. You know what I mean?
Is. You're right. It is. And maybe I'm being too naive to say it.
No, I did think it was a lot. Like, I saw it a lot.
And a lot of it could be me because I start watching news on and off at like 4 p.m. So 4, 5, and 6 are on at my house. And then I watch, if I'm up and there's nothing else, much on, I'll put on the 10 o'clock news. And then I'll watch 11 o'clock. So maybe it's my intake that's too much, and I'm not taking into consideration that people are seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
But
there's a part of that. But yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, but and the reason I question it, anybody else I might be like, nah, don't do that. But I do. I think Annie McCormick is like one of the best reporters. I don't care if it's newspaper, TV, whatever, that this city has. And she has a book out also that I have to get. But
really?
Yeah, but remember the Newlander rabbi, Cherry Hill guy who killed his wife? Anyway, she wrote a book on that, so
really?
I want to read that. But
I do vaguely remember that
Annie
story.
McCormick, there's your plug there. But I was just wondering about the sensitivity factor, and it kind of, I don't want to say rubbed me the wrong way, but it made me sit up and think about it, whether it was, good to show or not. But,
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Because it is local and affects us differently than some other video on the internet you'd see.
And because they're showing reaction and, interviewing people that knew this gentleman that died, I'm looking out to say, oh, do I know any of these people because they're from Pensauken?
Sure.
I grew up right there, and I have a lot of friends that grew up right there also. Hey, 7 o'clock hour, it's brought to you by the all-new Bet Parks app. Sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. All right, Connor, I do want to dive into this before we go nationally on the NBA. Let's go to the cut of Doc Rivers. And this is something, Jamie, that we've talked about a lot, and that's culture with this Sixers organization. And you and I, back in the day, way back then, I told you stories about how they brought in Brett Brown not only to look to rebuild, but to bring in a culture that was so established in San Antonio. That was a big part of his job description. Well, Doc Rivers decided to talk about the Sixers culture yesterday.
Yeah, you can feel it all through the organization. And, Elton, when he brought me in, that's what he told me, like, hey, this is not just about coaching this team. We're bringing you in here to change the culture. And he meant everywhere. And he allowed me to come in and we looked through the whole organization. I'm talking about trainers, equipment managers, everybody. And, Bill, I think you've been around me enough. If you're not on board, if you're not trying to win, if that's not what you're breathing every day, for me, it's time to go. And I meant that with everybody in the organization. And overall, I thought we were starting to get it done. You could see the change in the culture. And so I think the growth of that is there. I think they still have some growth in that department as well. Very media alert is the word I'm using. And sometimes you can't worry about that. You just got to do your job. You got to worry about the basketball part of it and not the reaction to what everything happens. But their culture has definitely gotten better. I had a big part in that. And now the growth from there, it still has to get better. And if that happens, then they have a chance. If it doesn't happen, Bill, they're not going to win. It has to keep growing.
All right, I agree with growing the winning culture, all of that stuff. Are you're seriously bringing up trainers and equipment managers about getting your winning? You had the best equipment manager in the league that the whole league knew was the best equipment manager, and you decided to get rid of him. Tell me how that's going to help your winning culture. And I'm not going to die on Scotty Rigo Hill here, but if you talk to anybody around the NBA, and you got to meet Scotty last week, Connor, and he was out with us. I am not kidding you when I could go to anyone around the league and bring up his name. That's a winner right there. So as minors, you might think, it's an equipment manager. You got rid of a winner. It shows what a loser organization may be, something, that you're portraying. People, Doc Rivers will casually say, you got rid of an equipment manager. They got rid of somebody that was there for 30 years. You got rid of somebody that was there that has seen everything from the winning to the losing. That was no more of a backer of this organization than anyone I knew. I don't see how you're trying to portray that as that. Changing that is going to make you more of a winning organization.
Yeah, that jumps out to me as weird by Doc.
Right?
To even mention that. The other thing I take from that is we're still talking about this.
Yes.
We're still talking about the poor culture. Like Joel Embiid is about to enter his 9th or 10th NBA season?
He's 29, so yeah, however many years he's been with the organization minus the 2, plus the 2 that he had to sit out.
And you still expect it to change?
I mean, that's my thing. I'm wondering, are you more worried about the people that Doc Rivers brought up, who I'm assuming when he and Daryl Morey came in here, the ones that he mentioned were the ones that got gone? So obviously it was on their game plan.
Yeah.
So I'm not holding the whole organization, like the PR, all those guys. I'm not holding all of them. But obviously they came in to win a culture, and that's what you did?
That's what you pinpointed as something that needs to change.
Does that seem a little bit odd to you, Connor?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And I can't, Scotty kind of got back in the news a little because of his thing with Jimmy Butler. Remember it went viral, like his pregame handshake? And it's like, my mind goes to, was that kind of like Jimmy Butler related? You know what I mean? Like, because that's like kind of the egg on their face. I mean, there's a lot of egg on their face with poor decisions over the last 7-8 years. But the Butler one is like fresh on everyone's mind, and he's now been in 2 NBA finals since then. It's almost like you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Like,
are they winning culture being everywhere?
Are they? It seems to me like concerned about the wrong things.
Yes,
I guess that's how I'm trying to say it.
Yeah.
That's the way to tie it up
Like,
into
if
it.
that's what you're concerned about.
How about you talk about, does Joel Embiid know how to win, or does the organization know how to build players around him, or do coaches know how to coach a big man with his skills to become champions instead of an equipment manager who was mentioned by Allen Iverson at his Hall of Fame speech, how important he was, who was mentioned by Kobe Bryant in his last game here, in his press conference.
It's not even that. It could be the worst equipment manager. The guy could be taking a dump in their sneakers before every game. It doesn't matter. If you're the head coach and you're pointing to the equipment manager,
Yeah, something's wrong.
Like that's on somebody else.
And I know this is something like, this is just a minor example of kind of culture and how the players kind of, rule the roost down there. And I know it bothered you, and it always bothered me. Joel Embiid, after years of knee and foot issues, would come out at shoot-around in socks on a basketball court or in slides, the sandals, the shower shoes.
Yep.
And to me, like, that's a way bigger issue than an equipment manager being good or bad. It's like you're letting a guy with an injury history kind of jeopardize himself, because socks on a basketball court that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
You get it?
That's good work.
And shower slides, kind of same thing. Like, you're letting the guy do that when like, if you're a basketball person watching that and you go, that guy has foot and knee issues, why is he shooting around in socks and slides right now? Like, that is, a slight little slip or turn away from an accident waiting to happen, yet you're letting him do that because he's the face of the franchise. How about, and you always bring up the Spurs. Would Tim Duncan do that? Would Tim Duncan be allowed to do that?
I totally, and this is how
Would
my
Tim Duncan want to do that? So it opens up all these other questions about their culture.
It does, and I'm the most minute, important thing guy to me. I couldn't stand it when I saw Joel Embiid years ago on the road sitting on a training table on the floor. Now, why they had a training table out on the floor for guys to do stretching, I have no idea. But he was sitting on there eating
cheeseburgers,
like 2 hours before a game.
Listen, man, if it's burger time,
that
it's burger
bothered
time.
the crap out of me, because
I
I like the smallest little things, to me, lead to that winning organization. So I'm kind of counteracting what I said earlier about, seriously, you're worrying about this, but you have such bigger problems
but that's
before
more,
you get there.
Yes.
That's more winning culture oriented than an equipment manager.
Yeah.
And also, it's not something that the head coach needs to be. Like, it's the organization as a whole. If you're the head coach and you're tasked with getting this team out of the second round and figuring out how to make James Harden work come playoff time and dealing with that, it's almost something that shouldn't be on your plate. Like, I don't want Doc Rivers to be thinking about this stuff. Maybe there's guys behind the scenes that are like, okay, well, we can change this, that, and the other thing about the day-to-day of the organization that might make him better. But it should not be on the head coach's radar who's doing stuff with the equipment or who's doing this, that, and the other thing with, like, it's just the fact that the focus is on so many things that don't seem relevant when the team has so many issues that are mainly relevant to basketball is crazy to me.
Now, putting all this on the Sixers organization of what Doc Rivers said, a recently fired Doc Rivers, probably isn't fair. I mean, this seems to be, that's why I said it seems to be a Doc Rivers, Daryl Morey thing, because he talked about something that specifically happened under their watch.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
No,
but the organization thing is correct. Like, when you're looking organizationally as a culture, what's the first thing you should look at?
But if you're handing the keys over to a new culture every 3 years, do you have a culture?
Great point. Or are you just still trying to get one?
You're still trying to get one, which to me is the biggest problem of all.
You've only had real one look at a culture, because I feel like Brett Brown was forced behind the eight ball because of the process. Like, it's hard to rebuild one when you've been there for so long. You already have this perception about you from players that cross over and things like that.
But then you let the league force in a terrible culture right in the middle of it all.
Exactly. And then Doc Rivers comes in, and he's been really the only head coach since Brett he has been the only head coach since Brett, but he's had the opportunity to build a culture, and maybe his just didn't work. So maybe it's easier for them to flip it with the right coach than we think, but they haven't had a good one for years.
Do you think, this is an impossible question to answer, but do you think if Josh Harris and the ownership group put up more of a fight against Adam Silver in the league when it came to Sam Hinkie and the Colangelos getting forced in here, they'd be in a better place? Because I think without a doubt they are. I'm not saying Sam still is GM today. Like, I think,
Sure,
that candle was going to burn out eventually. But the way, like,
you get some equity with your play.
like,
what you just bring that up. Going to Evan Turner to interview him before his season started, and him saying, Sam Hinkie's not my GM.
Yeah, like it's such a bizarre case of a franchise. You know what I mean? And that's probably why they're still searching for a culture after 10 years now.
Does this all come from the craziness of the process?
Probably.
partially.
Probably a
Definitely a huge contributing factor.
yeah.
But it's both the process and how the NBA reacted to it. It's not just the fact that they tanked. It's what Jamie was just talking
The
about.
Colangelos were forced in here, and then you got Burnergate, and I'm surprised they could get anyone ever to come to Philadelphia again.
Right. It's just such a weird. It's one of the weirdest decades in sports of any franchise ever.
Absolutely. Can you name a weirder one?
No.
Probably not. No, probably not. WM Henderson Cooling, Heating, Plumbing, and Farron Electric can schedule your AC repair the same day or you don't pay. Book at HendersonEasyBook.com. Mike from Delran winds up hating somebody, believe it or not. Mike, what's going on, buddy?
Yo, what's going on?
How you doing?
You know what? Maybe Doc's right, because, every time I was at a game, that guy who sold the Miller Lite in Section 206, he just didn't look like he had it in him,
He didn't have that dog in him.
Yeah, when I was giving the kid the money to park, that $40 so I could park, he just didn't really look like he had that winner attitude to me. Kiss my ass. I'm so tired of hearing Doc blame everybody but himself for being a loser. Stop telling me about everything else. Oh, I had a part in helping that culture. No, you didn't, because we still can't get out of the second round. You suck, Doc. Go Birds.
Mike doesn't mince words.
I hear what he's saying, but I
don't think Doc sucked here as a head coach.
No, I don't think he sucked, and I do think he's being truthful. I think he also pats himself on the back a lot.
Well, if you listen to all of his quotes, it goes from pointing out what was bad to, and this is what I did well, to moving in the future, I don't know what they can do, or maybe they should do this.
But the important part to me, once I hear him pat himself on the back, I tune out.
I'll tell you, it's so funny you said that. I caught myself doing that where I had to say, Bob, pay attention.
Yeah, because I know what's coming. I was able to stop Steph Curry.
I did start changing the culture.
Yeah, I did everything good and nothing of the bad. I zone out at that part, but the other part where he says, no, it's really tough. It was really challenging to coach James Harden. That's what I hear, and then that sticks in my head, and I kind of hear Charlie Brown's teacher the rest of the way.
Womp, 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 womp.
I hear the truth, which is, it was very hard to coach James Harden. And then the rest is just kind of either patting himself on the back or saying enough to save himself from talking bad on former players. But I think he tells you, I think he was very truthful in a lot of the stuff because he took shots at Embiid and he took shots at Harden, but then he masks it with, well, they're great and this and that, but and then takes credit himself. But there's truth in there.
I wonder,
and that's all I care about.
I wonder what kind of effect this does have on the Sixers. Is this I'm not going to say it's a come to Jesus moment because most likely Elton Brand, Daryl Morey, they're sitting there and they're like, really, dude, you had to air laundry like this or
dirty
whatever.
Laundry.
But like you said, it is truthful. It is how he feels.
And I believe him.
Wonky some of it may be.
Because the one constant in all this outside of ownership is Joel Embiid.
Yes.
And I don't care if it's Phil Jackson or Red Auerbach or Greg Popovich or Mike Krzyzewski. I don't care who the coach is on the sideline anymore. To me, this is all...
Until I see something different, I don't either.
Yeah, it's all a player culture thing. And is Joel Embiid cut out for winning in the playoffs? That's the question. That's the number one question.
It is
on everybody's mind.
It absolutely is,
and it's fair.
Hey, Craig in Deptford wants to talk about what Doc's saying. What's up, Craig? You're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, good morning, guys. And I'm sorry I pissed that caller off yesterday about the whole Embiid breakdown with the Joker yesterday.
All good.
Yeah. So anyway, I kind of have a real interesting perspective. So I'm going to start by saying that this is funny. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, but I want to give you a perspective.
That's not funny, but go ahead.
So my brother's an NFL athlete, and he played here at Temple University. Then his name is Alshimad Singleton. He was an outside linebacker at Temple. They didn't win many games when he was in Temple in Philadelphia. Then he got drafted and went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he won the Super Bowl. Obviously, they beat the Eagles that one year, but that team was full of all kinds of you had Derek Brooks, you had Warwick Dunn, you had Warren Sapp, all of those guys. Then he went to Dallas because they wouldn't renew his contract after the Super Bowl, the whole Gruden snake thing. The point of the conversation is that when I have these conversations with him, he talks about culture all the time.
Right.
So at Temple, he didn't win. The culture was not a winning culture when he was playing at Temple. When he went to Tampa, he had Tony Dungy. And then he also had great athletes, right? And he would tell me about the locker room stories about Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp. These guys would argue more about what they did in college than what they were doing in the pros. that was the culture of the locker room because they were the elite athletes of the country at the college level. Then when he went to Dallas, it was just kind of like, Jerry Jones is everything. He controls everything. Nothing goes on without him. Any kind of a community event, anything that's related to the media. So the culture is correct when we're talking about Philadelphia and Embiid. We know that these coaches have just been fired that just won championships. The ownership and the culture front offices are not being held accountable enough, and they're using the players as scapegoats. Now, we talked about Embiid being a better player yesterday, which is fine, but at the end of the day, Morey, Brand, all of those guys, they should be doing a better job. The same way, I mean, again, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, we all know Jerry Jones is in the way.
Yeah. No, you make great points, Craig. Thanks for the call. Appreciate that. It's almost like we talk about in the workforce.
His brother had a pretty good career.
I knew you were going to look that up.
Yeah, he played almost 10 years.
The name sounds familiar, yeah.
97 to 06.
But in the work culture, complaints go up. We always talk about this. We complain to our bosses. Our bosses shouldn't complain down to us, right? Complaints go up. Culture drips down, in my book. It drips down from ownership, general managers, whatever. And it's something that I think when you walk into a locker room, which many of us have done many times, you can feel it. You know what the winning it's palpable. Like you kind of know what it is.
Yeah.
And that's part of getting to it, is it being that feeling of knowing what it is. San Antonio had, obviously New England had it. And you can argue about how you get it or don't get it, whatever.
To me, the culture is Joel Embiid.
And, it's the only constant besides ownership, as you said.
Sure.
I don't think this ownership group is involved enough to have
I don't think the ownership
a culture.
group, I don't think the ownership group is responsible for shrugging your shoulders and not getting back on defense with a turnover down 6 with 5 minutes to go on home court.
I need better defense out of Josh Harris.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like at that point, and, it is a trickle-down thing, but, like, that's on Joel Embiid and James Harden.
Yeah.
And you talk about the locker room. Like, ownership's not in the locker room.
No, but
the constant there is Joel Embiid, and Doc talks about it, and we're going to get to the cut, I know, pretty soon. Like, it's kind of damning.
Yeah.
And to me, he is the culture.
And
because when he talked about his brother being in Tampa Bay, who did he mention? Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks, Hall of Fame
best players. Yes.
Your best players have to. Like, Joel Embiid's not a puppy anymore.
So
he's almost a decade veteran in the NBA.
A dog.
Like, he should, but he doesn't know. Like, he should know what the culture is at this point, and it's clear that he doesn't.
Is it unfair to say he should be the culture? Is it on part? There's so many great talking points on this, and we're going to get into it all day. Is it part ownership's fault in that when he and Ben Simmons came here,
I think it was part ownership's fault 7-8 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. When they came here,
not anymore.
Here they are. They can do no wrong. They don't even have to answer to us. They're on their own, and I've seen cases of that.
A former owner of the Sixers introduced Joel Embiid to his wife. So, like, that's a whole nother personal relationship.
Wow, I'd like him to introduce me to somebody.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Can you introduce me to some SI swimsuit models?
Please.
I think
I got a little distracted from that conversation.
7-8 years ago, I think the ownership was a part of the culture. Now at this point, and maybe it's the faults of the past now, just, rearing their heads now, but like that culture should have been able to grow on its own into a winning culture, and it's not.
I agree. I don't know why there isn't a good culture.
So I guess by not putting your foot down
to get a good culture. That's true too.
But they are winning. They're winning a lot of regular season games. I mean, I didn't see many 50-win seasons in my life until 5 years ago, and now it's been a constant.
But you're right.
Like, they are winning, but
but not enough.
There's the one foundational centerpiece of it all, I don't think knows how to win in the playoffs when things get tough.
Hey, Turtle Creek Golf Course, this week's the perfect time to play the Turtle. Turtle Creek Golf Course, according to Golf Digest, is one of the best maintained courses in the area, with the best turf of any course in the Northeast. Go to turtlecreek.com for online bookings. When we get back,
Turtle Creek invited us to the test.
Oh,
you know?
maybe they are inviting us out. Yeah, baby, that's right.
We'll test out that turf.
We'll talk about
I'll put some divots in it. We'll
Yeah,
see
we
how that
will.
turf bounces back.
Hey, when we get back, we're also going to talk a little bit more about the Doc Rivers quotes that he has out there. And also, something came back. And Jamie wants to talk about it because it's back. This
Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hey, John Kincade Show here at 97.5 The Fanatic. Thoughts and prayers out to John today. As he mentioned, starts chemo today. First of, I believe, 12 treatments. He goes every other week. So he's in for a little fight, which we all are in with him. And any thoughts and prayers you can throw out to John, I know he'll appreciate, and we will forward them to him should you give them to us. I had a weird request during the break. Father Sean's on the line. He told Matt Menarek, please tell Bob to get me on the air because I have mass at 8:30. So without further delay, Father Sean, you're on the air. How's it going, buddy?
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for getting me on.
You got it.
And I'll be praying for John at Mass as a special intention.
Thank you.
Listen, this is a great conversation. I know they were starting to play some of the stuff from Doc yesterday. But, for years I've thought with the whole process thing, the idea of culture, just to for years they were told they had to lose. And then all of a sudden they had to flip the switch to bring it back and start winning. And I think, Larry, or I should say Brett Brown had a tough job, obviously having to do that and guide these guys through that. I don't think he was the guy to take them to the next level. I mean, he was a good guy and everything, but, a lot of the things we talk about, missteps with drafting, et cetera. And Doc, okay, he came in. He was the first guy to come in and after many years. But even though, as Jamie was making a point before the break, yes, they are starting to win now, but there's still those things that are missing. I think there is something that in that culture thing. Another thing, just to bring this up real quick, I think that Doc brought up that's been on my mind ever since that last game on Mother's Day, with that terrible game. I haven't really called in since around that time. Is this whole thing that Harden talking about basketball freedom. And
no, it stayed with me too.
To hear him, Doc, talk about James being that difficult, not wanting to keep up and going back to his ISO game and everything else. Like, I was like on the fence about him, like in terms of bringing him back, but it's like, I don't think he's going to want to do that again. I don't think we can get James Harden to be that great distributor and passer because I don't think he wants to do that.
And that has stuck with us. Father Sean, thank you. Prayers to you also. I hope priests get prayed for also. We pray for you, and we thank you for your prayers for John and us. But
that
Father
basketball freedom line stayed with me too.
It did. It was, I don't like playing here.
Yeah, well,
I only like playing one way here.
Yeah, like I interpreted it as I basically bent down and did what they wanted. And now it's funny hearing Doc say,
basically what?
I succumbed to your wishes and played the way you wanted me to, but that's not how I want to play. And now hearing Doc say, well, I know how he needed to play, but he didn't do it. Who's telling the truth here? It seems like Doc and James are the same stubborn person.
It does.
And neither of them, I guess James gave in more, like he did lead the league in assists, but as Doc pointed out, it got worse as the year went on. Like, I think he tried it, and then was like, yeah, this isn't really how I want to play.
Scoring's more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what's in store for Nick Nurse?
That's a great question.
I mean, you're talking about a 13-year veteran or whatever he is for James Harden. We talk about him not going to change for Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers talking about an offense that we bring up often. You got to move more. The ball has to move. And James Harden, apparently, according to Doc Rivers, didn't want to do that. And it didn't look like anybody did it come playoff time.
On its surface, Nick Nurse and James Harden are oil and water. I don't see it working.
So
because Nick Nurse is kind of like a grinder, an outside the box thinker. Let me tinker.
Do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, let me try different stuff. Throw enough spaghetti at the wall, so eventually one is going to stick. James Harden seems like he knows the way he wants to play and wants to get back to that style of play. And his style of play is not Nick Nurse's style of play. To me, they seem like they don't work.
It is leaning kind of that way, no?
But then at the same time, and I found it very interesting what Woj said prior to Game 5 of the finals the other night. It was the day that Van Vliet opted out of his player option for this year. Now, Harden controls your finances, unfortunately, because if he leaves in a non-sign and trade situation, you're only left with $12.2 million. So you don't have the money to go get a Van Vliet. But Woj did say prior to Game 5, like 30 minutes prior to tip, he was talking about Van Vliet, and he said now he becomes one of the most sought-after free agents on the market this year.
Right.
For teams with money, and also for contending teams that don't have the money, that want to explore sign-and-trade options and this and that. He might as well have just said the Sixers. Because, look, Van Vliet has talked openly about his love for Nick Nurse, and Nick Nurse has talked about Van Vliet, and he helped develop him and all that stuff. But you can't get a Van Vliet without a sign and trade from James Harden. So it's they're screwed.
James Harden, although might not be everybody's first choice or a lot of people's first choice, it might just come down to him being your only choice.
Kind of. And then you have Stephen A saying like he doesn't believe Houston's really going to pony up what James Harden is portraying to the media that they're going to pony up, and kind of made it seem like Philadelphia might be his only choice. And then you have Ramona Shelburne saying that Phoenix is getting in the mix last week. So who knows? But it does seem like James Harden's in control of a lot, and that's scary.
It is. Yes, especially with this stuff coming out now. Now, we haven't talked about this with you, so I wanted to get your take on it, about the rumors surrounding Bradley Beal. Forget about, say you can do it. Say Washington says, yeah, we want to dump this huge contract. We'll take on Tobias Harris for a year, and you can make that happen. Bradley Beal, a good fit for you? Are you happy with that? Does that move your needle at all?
Yeah, that would move my needle.
Yeah?
It's hard for me to take the reality. Like, it would be like so.
Not taking the reality out of it.
But what do they have to give up? You'd have to give up Maxey. I mean, if you're Washington, okay, you get the expiring Tobias deal. They don't have any first-round picks that are really appealing anytime soon. There's not really any other.
Is money enough? Is that enough? Just to say, God, we're getting rid of $50 million over the next 2 years, because he's due like 35 this year, and then it goes up to 50.
They can do better. Like, the Sixers are so strapped with assets, they got nothing.
All right. Okay. Let's say somehow it's a reality without Maxey going. You get rid of Tobias Harris, side pieces, draft picks, whatever.
Yeah,
and
it
you
would
make
do
it
something
work
for me, but I can't.
Are you where I am now? Almost the same as a coach. Like, doesn't matter who the coach comes in. Doesn't matter who the player you bring in. Short of a
kind of
Giannis Antetokounmpo, players like that. I am. I'm like, I don't know how you surround Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the most talent on Sixers teams in my lifetime these last 4 or 5 years, and it's been a revolving cast of characters, and it's never really even been close to good enough. So do I think Bradley Beal comes in and all of a sudden they're championship playing in the NBA Finals? No.
Do me a favor. Google Sixers roster and see what comes up, because I almost laughed in the middle of your speaking right there, and it should have pictures of their players going across.
Yeah.
Is that what you have?
Yeah.
Look about 6 in.
Paul Reed.
What the hell is that? Google has a picture of Paul Reed. It's like some 60-year-old guy.
He's got gray hair and a mustache.
Yeah, different Paul Reed, obviously.
But maybe that's his dad?
Or maybe that's just a Paul Reed that they pulled off the internet and threw in there.
That's really bizarre.
Yeah.
And Mac McClung is the 5th listed Sixer.
Well, he won the dunk contest.
That's a good point. Well, probably Google,
Yeah,
SEO,
a lot of people looking up Mac McClung.
Yeah, it goes Embiid, Harden, Maxey Harris, Mac McClung.
PJ Tucker, Paul Reed, 65-year-old man, and then George Niang, Jalen McDaniels.
Yeah, that's like that old roster picture from the process where their names are all changed. And it's like Embiid is listed as Bort. That's great.
Oh, man.
The good old days.
Flux, yeah. So, all right, Connor, this cut that we have next, and this might be I think culture's the most important thing that Doc Rivers had to say as far as questioning. But this one's pretty good, too, and it goes away from James Harden and towards somebody else.
Number one, he has to be healthy in the playoffs, and this was the healthiest, but he still wasn't 100%. Then number two for Joe is he's got to make all his players better. And he has the ability to make his teammates better. You look at our games this year, when he did that and dominated, hard to go away from Joel Embiid. He's just got to do that on a consistent basis, not just on the court, but also off the court. Just be around your guys and spend time with your guys and let them know that you love them because they loved you. And so I thought that Joe, in the 3 years, you can see the growth there. We forget how young he is. We also forget his first 2 years he didn't play. And I'm telling you, that sets a tone. And so fighting that early on when I first got there was huge. Joe, you need to play tonight. Joe, you can play tonight. Now he's up in games. And so he's doing it. He's crossed that barrier. The next one will be making his teammates better. When he does that, it's going to be hard to stop. And I think he will do it.
It is amazing the pattern, all of the quotes that we've played of Doc Rivers today that have gone the exact same pattern. Kind of throw somebody say some nice things about somebody and then get into the depth of what you think is wrong with them and then say what you did to make it all better and then come back down to say, I think they can do it. We'll have to see how it plays out here.
Yeah.
But damning on Embiid right there, or how do you take it?
Yeah, I mean, he said come playoff time, he doesn't make his teammates better. It's pretty damning. I mean, he does, guide it under, health is the most important thing. But, he's got to make his teammates better. When you watch the Nuggets, it's a great supporting cast. It really is. Like Calvin Booth should be executive of the next 3 years with how well they're set up out there. But Jokic makes his teammates better. I don't know if you were in last week when I shared the stat. Were you here?
I don't think so because I think you were in.
Okay, so it was the top assist duos in the NBA, and Joel Embiid and James Harden had like 245 assisted buckets. Harden to Embiid, the most in the NBA by 90. The next closest was Jokic to, I forget who it was. Everybody on Sixers Twitter was like, "Oh wow, Harden and Embiid really ran away with this." Jokic was a part of 4 combinations in the top 20. In the NBA.
Oh, my God. So Jamal Murray must be first.
It was Murray to Jokic. It was Jokic to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. It was Jokic to Aaron Gordon. And it was somebody else
Michael
to Porter.
MPJ.
Yeah. So he was a part. So like Joel Embiid and James Harden got the headline. But the real story was that Jokic was a part of 4 of the top 20 assist combinations in the NBA. Which tells me he makes all 4 guys on the court better with him every single possession. And Joel Embiid does that at times tremendously in the regular season. But when it comes to playoff time, that ceases to happen on the offensive side of the ball. I think defensively he helps a lot. His teammates be better. But offensively, I think it kind of dies with him. And I think that's what Doc is saying. Like, he's got to make people better. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have 35 to 40 a game.
No.
Like, you have to make your teammates better. If that calls for going down low and getting a key offensive rebound and not taking a lazy outside shot, if that means posting somebody up, if that means, take the 3-point. Like, he just seems to be a leaked script come playoff time. There's no mystery to it.
Yeah, there was a couple of times, at least a couple of times, it might have been in the NBA Finals, where Jokic hadn't taken a shot in the first 6 minutes of the game.
But it would have like 8 assists and 10 rebounds.
A huge part of their team.
And that's like the Sixers rebounding has been an issue in every playoffs. It hasn't been good enough. No. And who's the biggest guy on the court?
Who's the guy that should be getting most of your rebounds?
I mean, Jokic puts up a 32, 20, and 10 game. 22 playoff rebounds.
Yeah.
Does Embiid have that?
No.
He'll do it in the regular season.
In certain games when it's there for him.
Yeah.
To me, that's one of my biggest
he
complaints.
should be getting...
He doesn't go after rebounds.
No.
Rebounds come to him.
And that's all part of why they're not winning.
Yeah, and there's sometimes like down a stretch and you need a rebound. He'll go and get it. And while you look at it on the surface, you say, oh, great, they needed that rebound. He went and got it. To me, it's like, why doesn't he do that more? Why doesn't he do that throughout the whole game? That's my ball. Go get it.
After last playoffs, last year, not this most current year, he basically said we needed PJ Tucker. He had to outsource the willingness to rebound onto the team instead of looking internally and going,
I should be more like PJ Tucker.
Yes.
That's a great point. Hey, PhillySportsTrips.com. Come join us in Clearwater Beach for a perfect long September weekend as the Birds play the Bucks on Monday night. Jamie's going to be there. Reserve your spot now with a small deposit at PhillySportsTrips.com. Philly Sports Trips, travel with the pros.
I was hanging out with Vince last night.
Yes, you were.
We were talking about that trip. I'm very excited for it.
Yes, well, you should be. Lewis in Pennsauken wants to talk about Doc. How you doing, Lewis?
Hey, fellas, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
Hey, listen. When you talk about him making his teammates better, and I totally agree with Doc, but he also said something which I totally agree, and it's out of his control. One thing about Joel is he's never he's not healthy during the playoff run, and whether it's his fault or it's not his fault, it makes no difference. For some reason, he has a dark cloud over it. So when the stuff hits the fan, he's not able to give you 100% because he's not healthy. One thing about Jokic is that Jokic didn't miss a game. He missed 2. And so therefore, that's what I've always said this. If we're going to have a championship run, it starts with a healthy, dominant Embiid. That's what it starts and ends with.
And it's how do you get there, Lewis? Like how do you ensure that he gets there?
Some people, listen, we've tried load management. We've tried a lot of things. Sometimes it's just, I hate to say it, like a Grant Hill, but sometimes it's not in the cards. But here's what I say about one thing about Denver with them winning is that what I've said for a long time. People like the cookie cutter, you got to have a guy, a wing player. You have to have 2 threes. No, you don't. You have to have at least 2 guys, like they had Jamal, not just Jokic, because they wouldn't have just won it without Jokic. Jamal Murray and Jokic, they played like prime time performers in prime time. Bottom line is, our 2 guys, are perennial underperformers. And here's the thing about JoJo. JoJo gave you 33 points a game during the regular season, right? We depended on him for 33. He only gave you 23 in the playoffs. What formula is it where you're going to have somebody give you 33 a night and then all of a sudden give you 23 and really in the big moment, and then you're going to win a championship? It's not happening.
Yeah, no, you make a great point, Lewis. Appreciate the call.
But it could happen if he made his teammates better instead of focused on just scoring.
So that's why I said yesterday, and what I wrote yesterday on our website was, Joel Embiid, you love imitating people? Maybe you don't think it's, and maybe Doc Rivers was alluding to that also, like having just watched Jokic, and then he talks about Embiid having to make his players better. Well, Joel, if you love looking at people and emulating what they do, you have a no better model right there in front of you than Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't register with him because that's kind of insulting his basketball intelligence, but like, does it register with him how many more ways there are to help a team win besides just scoring?
It doesn't register with him.
Offensively, I'm talking, because defensively he impacts the game in tremendous ways. That's clear.
All right,
but
just to play devil's advocate, maybe it does register with him. Maybe he has been told that he has to score for this team to be their best. I don't know. I've never heard Brett Brown or Doc come out and say, yeah, he's got to look to be a better passer.
But he should.
He should. Has he not been instructed to? Like, if I want my player to change his game, as the coach, I'm telling him how to change it.
Do you think how the way he was, because remember, he didn't have a whole lot of basketball experience growing up. Like,
no, he's only been playing, 14 years?
Yeah,
maybe?
Since he was 16.
So the way he came into the league, think about who he played with. Think about who his main original co-star was. A guy who was passing-centric, who never wanted to score the basketball. Do you think that weighed on the way he developed to the fact that he has always felt the need he needs to score more than facilitate?
I don't know, because he's been surrounded by every different type of player you can imagine.
But sometimes your nurture is what you end up sticking with, like the first thing you're used to. Those were his formative years in the NBA. That might be hard to break.
I don't know. I mean, he's been surrounded by shooters. No, I'm thinking it out with you, because I think that's what you're doing. You're thinking it out. You're not making a definitive statement. He was surrounded by shooters in the Bellinellis and the Redicks and the Ilyasovas and all the Currys. We can mention them all forever. So, therefore, he could be a facilitator on that. He was,
and he does get guys
Redick
in an incredible amount of open 3-pointers because of the attention he draws. So it's not like he doesn't make some teammates better. It's like playoff centric.
Yes. It's a question I posed to Jimmy Lynam I don't think you were here, Jamie. And I said, if you're a defensive team coming in and looking at the 76ers, Joel Embiid in particular, during a playoff series, why is it so easy to stop them?
Because it becomes a stagnant offense.
Because when they double team, they never seem to have an answer.
Yeah, and Embiid kind of plays a little bit of hero ball, in my opinion, because he thinks, well, I'm an MVP caliber player. I should be making this shot. And I don't think that always leads to the best basketball play.
I agree with that.
Because he's getting double and triple teamed, and sometimes he's going, and the clock's expiring, and then he settles for, a Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway with a second on the shot clock, and it's not a good quality shot because Al Horford's in his face on the perimeter. Instead of going, my team needs a bucket more than anything in the world right now. Let me get a bucket no matter how.
Yeah, that's certainly a factor that plays in. You see that all the time with him.
His shot selection in the playoffs turns to dog doo-doo.
It's I have to get mine more than this is a good shot.
Yeah.
Sometimes, right? That's how I feel like, all right, I have an open jumper here. I haven't taken a shot in a while. I got to go here. Jokic, on the other hand, and we're going to get in. Connor has a great subject, though, what I'm going to get into next, about is it okay to compare Joel Embiid and Jokic, and what Jokic winning a championship, what might it mean to Embiid?
He better have been watching.
What's that?
He better have been watching.
And he should watch all summer long.
I don't want him checking out down in Margate or wherever he is.
Well, he can do that too.
He can't go to the beach?
He can go to the beach.
Come on.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying check out check out of watching basketball. Like, I wanted him to hate watch.
Yes, I agree.
Like, I hope he did.
I hate to do this, but I want to be more like this guy.
Yeah.
I got no problem with that. Law offices of Glenn S. Barry, injured in an accident from big to small? Call 855-BARRY-LAW for the personal attention you deserve. You'll pay nothing unless they recover money for you. Teased it earlier. We're going to get to it. Something has come back. Jamie wants to talk about it. Do you think it's cool? Do you think it's not? Also, the Jokic conversation. Connor brought up some great points in our show sheet about, are they comparable? Should we compare Joel Embiid and Jokic? And is there something for the Sixers to learn from it?
Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show here, 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll have Adam Schefter coming up in a couple of minutes here.
You say Shefty.
Yeah. We'll get... It's funny, Jamie and I are talking. We're like, well, what the hell are we going to talk about NFL with Schefty today? Because it's like a downtime, as we all know. It's a downtime. Some OTAs started and all that stuff. But Schefty's so well-rounded, and I think he really gets pumped up to talk about other things. So we're going to dive into some other things with him. Connor and I were talking about something real quick, Jamie. Stupid things people do for fun. And if I had to say among us, you probably are the guy that has done the most stupid things for fun. But did you see this light the Bulls horn on fire thing?
No.
Connor, do you know where this was? Connor and I both saw it on
I have no idea.
Twitter.
It's supposedly some like party or celebration type thing. I'm imagining it's Europe somewhere.
Yeah, so there's probably Spain. There's a free bull that people surround.
I think they had to pay for it.
There was probably, 15, 20 guys around this bull?
Yeah, it was a big crowd.
Yeah, and they the thing is they're trying to light its horn on fire.
Yeah, so they wrap like paper, I guess, around its horn and then light it on fire.
And then they light it on fire. Well, guess what? The bull didn't like it. And we're not sure the outcome, and I don't want to make light of this, but if these guys are this stupid, he may have killed one of the guys because he went after and speared, and the guys just, are you looking at it now?
So I'm reading like the history of where it comes from. It says it dates back to ancient battles when bulls of fire were used to scatter the enemy. A more popular version sees the connection between this ritual and the arrival of the relics of the holy bodies and blah, 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 blah.
Anyway.
So I guess it was...
Seemed pretty stupid.
I guess it's an old tradition that certain cultures still do?
I guess. And whenever something happens with a bull and a human, somehow the horn always seems to catch onto the human's pants.
Yeah.
Because they always come back down to the knees. Well, that's what happened with this guy. He not only got speared by the bull or whatever you call it, the pants were down around the ankles, and the guy was laying there like they had to drag him away with no movement from him at all. So my suggestion, Jamie, if you're looking for fun, don't go lighting bulls' horns on fire.
No, that doesn't sound like a good time.
No, it's running with the bulls isn't something I ever wanted to do.
Bull with horns on fire gores man to death at Spanish
festival. Oh, my
festival.
God, he did die.
Well, this was August 24th, 2022.
Maybe it's just making the rounds.
So maybe it's
now.
just getting resurfaced. But yeah, he gored somebody to death. I always find myself kind of cheering for the animal in those circumstances.
Yeah, me and you both. Hey, we got Adam here. He's on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Like Comcast Business, keep you ready for what's next. Shefty, how are you doing today, buddy?
Gentlemen, how are we doing? First and foremost, I want to send my thoughts to John. Wish him the best today as he undergoes his treatment here. Let's keep him in our thoughts and hope for the best.
You're a good man. And Adam Schefter is brought to you by Landis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at landisbc.com. Shefty, NFL news as far as Eagles goes, there's not much here.
That's good. That's good, isn't it? That's good, isn't it? Like you don't have Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson drama. Don't have somebody not showing up there wanting a new contract. There's no real big contractual issues to my knowledge surrounding that team now. So that's good. That's good. You want that. All is well and good. There's no injuries because it's hard to get injured when you're not on the football field doing much of anything.
Shefty, there was one little thing I saw yesterday. Gabaja Biamila, who originally had the Derrick Henry report, came out and said that him leaking that kind of nixed the deal. Like he thought it was going to get done, but his report nixed it. Are you buying or selling that?
It's funny you asked me about that. Okay, let me say this. Having been in a situation like that where sometimes you're reporting on a story or whatnot, clearly he was told something by somebody that made him believe whatever he does. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm not questioning any of that. I want to be very clear. I have never found any evidence that deal was ever close to happening. That's me. Okay, now he was told something different. So he thinks that it cost him the deal. I've never gotten that sense. I'm not telling you he's wrong. He knows things, was told things here that I was not. But I've been in touch with both sides. I never once got any sense that anything was developing, getting close, transpiring, about to happen. So I can't say I know what he knows.
Sure.
I'm not trying to cast doubt and dispersion on what he said. I'm just telling you.
Does the fact that the Eagles then traded for DeAndre Swift since then lead a little credence to him?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. And I'll tell you why, because they're two totally different situations. The Eagles got a running back in the last year of his deal. What is DeAndre Swift making this year? Making 1.8
Yeah, 1.3 or 1.5, something like that.
Yeah. They're two different situations.
Sure. Okay.
DeAndre Swift was not a guy like the Eagles were targeting all along. It just kind of happened very quickly. I mean, look, trades can unfold in quiet, and teams can make calls and keep things. I just, if you're going to trade for Derrick Henry, there's a lot that would have to happen. I think people would know. And I'm just saying, from both sides, I never got a sense from either one, independent of one another. Actually, three sides, because you got the two teams and the agent, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever validated anything there. Now, again, somebody's telling him something that he believes to be true, and I'm not questioning his source. He's convinced. So he knew something I didn't, whatever that is.
Schefter, we've been
from my experience, I didn't get anything like that.
Right. We've been talking this morning about culture. Doc Rivers came out with some quotes yesterday about the Sixers, his time here, individual players, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. One of the things he brought up was that he was asked to create a winning culture because it's not here. I've been around teams when I was covering the NBA that had that culture. You just knew, you could feel it, you knew what it was, but it's hard to describe. Can you describe what a winning culture is all about?
Yeah. Let me oversimplify it.
Winning.
And start with the fact that when you win, it's very easy to say you have a winning culture.
Right.
Okay? It's very, I didn't hear a lot about Heat culture during the season when they were struggling, and I didn't hear about Heat culture when they were the 8th seed and had to come from behind to beat the Bulls. I didn't hear about Heat culture then. But when they went, we got the Heat culture going on here. Right? And so, honestly, to boil it down to the most basic thing of all is when you win, it's easy to say you have winning habits, you have a winning culture, winning is bred within the building. Now, saying that, there are certain individuals and there are certain organizations that are more apt and prone to win because of the way they carry themselves, and they do things in a first-class way. They have a strong scouting system. The coaching staff does develop players, on and on. But let's start with the basic fact that when you win, you can proclaim whatever you want because it starts with that. Winning breeds winning, and losing breeds losing. And when you lose, people are unhappy and pissed off, and that's when you get controversies. And when you win, those things kind of get swept under the rug because they're still there, and they go away, and nobody cares because you're winning.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No. It is that basic. It's just some teams, like San Antonio. If I went down there now, I bet you I could still feel that culture down there. You know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, you're right. Winning is what breeds it mostly.
Adam, do we have to worry here in Philadelphia about Dalvin Cook and the Cowboys?
Worry about it? No. I don't think so.
Okay. Is he Miami bound? What's your...
Could he wind up? I guess that could happen. Here's the issue, right? You have a back in Tony Pollard that's going to make over $10 million, and they haven't signed him to a deal yet. If Dallas happens to pull the tag from Tony Pollard, yes, I would worry about Dalvin Cook winding up there. But until that happens, I don't view them as an overly viable threat. Now, again, could something happen? Is market tank? Could he decide, you know what, I'd rather play in Texas, no state tax, Cowboys marketing, I'm going to go give it a run for 1 year on a lower deal because no other deal is mature. Yeah, sure, those things happen. I don't think they will, but I don't know that, right? I don't rule anything out with these things. But I don't view that as the likely destination at this point. I don't know what the likely destination is, whether it's Miami or anybody else. I know Miami has been interested. I know Dalvin Cook is being patient. I know there are other teams calling. Where that wheel lines up and stops on, I don't know right now.
Schefter, we know you have to run in a minute, so I'm going to finish you off with this if you don't mind. What did you think of the NBA playoffs this year? Denver winning it, but just the whole playoffs as a whole.
Did you not like them, Bob?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Did you not like them? Were you unimpressed by them?
I was. I don't know how to put it. Not unimpressed. Jokic was obviously impressive.
You don't think they were tested enough?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah, they beat 2 8 seeds and a play-in team. Just say
I always find any game interesting. These playoffs, I don't know. They were indifferent to me, and I don't exactly know why. Maybe that's why I'm asking you the question.
The first round, was the first round or the second round? One of the rounds was really good. Like a bunch of the series went to 7 games. I'm trying to remember whether that was the opening round or the next round. Like it was the Suns and who they beat initially, like it's Dallas and the Warriors and Lakers, right? Like there were some really good series. But beyond that, Jokic to me was, the story of the postseason. The guy was incredible. And he's always been incredible. And I just don't realize, I don't know if everybody knew it, even though he won an NBA MVP. Like,
Two of them.
Yes. And now a finals MVP. Like that guy, he plays the game in a different way than we've ever seen.
He certainly does. And we hope in Philly that Embiid starts to emulate it a little bit.
And let me tell you something. Jokic to me is the model of consistency. And I would give up some of Joel Embiid's upside to get a little bit more consistency. Like we've talked about this, right?
Yeah.
Embiid has a higher ceiling, it seems like, but also there are some games where you just wonder, like, why is he not dominating all the time? All the time.
Totally agree. And talk about consistent, that is what you are, Schefter, and we appreciate you coming on with us today, and we will talk to you next Wednesday.
Guys, have a great week. Good luck to John. We'll talk next week.
All right, buddy. Thanks, Schefter. Adam Schefter brought to you by Landis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at landisbc.com. You have a backyard paradise, James. I was over there a couple weeks ago.
I love my backyard, yeah.
I could see that. Plenty of room. You got a nice... Are you growing anything back there, like back in the far part of it?
We got tomatoes, watermelons, snap peas, sugar snap peas, some lettuce, some spinach. Yeah.
All right. Hey,
I don't love it like some people love it, but it's cool.
I love watching things.
I like showing the girls...
Bro.
Oh, jeez, Bob. I like having the girls out there and like teaching them like you can survive by growing your own food. Like that's kind of fun to me. But the amount of work that
now sleep out here tonight.
Yeah, but what you actually yield is I don't know. It should be better.
Really?
I don't know.
What gets eaten the most by animals, or what gets bothered the most?
We had a new barrier built, and it's
pretty animal proof.
Yeah, it's a lot better than we've been in the past.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's like you almost have to plant things in different phases, so not everything comes to harvest at the same time.
Yeah, because otherwise they're grubbing big time.
Yeah, or then you're just wasting because what the hell am I going to do with 14
food.
tomatoes at once besides make a sauce, you know?
Yeah, no, that's it.
It's like I wish I could stage it better so like every week a certain number of tomatoes were, fresh. And that's gardening talk.
When I was a little kid, we used to grow tomatoes. Although I hated tomatoes, I did watch it. I loved watching them.
So my mom used to grow. We used to call them almost Jersey tomatoes because we lived in Washington Crossing and we could see Jersey.
Close. Right?
Yeah,
you got the same water.
Yeah. So to go out to the garden and pick a tomato. This was one of my favorite things.
Please don't say it. I'm going to throw up.
Just grab a tomato, sit there, slice it, hit it with some salt, and just eat tomato slices.
Oh, that's great. Maybe put it on a slice of cheese and just
I was a big white bread fan.
Ooh, love that.
I would peel the crust off. The crust would go to Chucky the dog. I would eat the white. What do you say, Chuck? I would eat the white innard stuff, and then with tomato slices and some salt. Oh, baby, that's living.
My dad used to. So my mom would make my dad lunch every weekend.
Tomato and mayo sandwiches.
A tomato mayo. When she used to start to make it, I would run out of the house. Like they thought it was hysterical. She would start slicing tomato and putting, and they would wait for me to come into the kitchen. I'd be like, and I would tear out of that.
You get like a good country bread with a tomato and mayo sandwich.
It's so
my mom is making tomato plants, but hers in the garden got blight, so she had to throw them out. I didn't know blight was a disease. I thought that was one of those. I don't
even know what that is.
When it comes to vegetables.
I thought it was like the plague or something like that. I thought it was
tomato plague.
Lung, Pop.
We used to grow corn too. Corn was oh god, I loved growing corn and eating that. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, we tried corn last year.
We did cucumbers one year.
Yeah, cucumbers
which
are good.
Is cool.
And then we got an herb garden.
I'm all into cucumber salad now. It's like my go-to.
You're a cucumber, bro?
Yeah.
Huh? I'm a cucumbersman.
You're a cucumbersman.
Yeah.
Yeah, cucumber salad's good with some
I
vinegar.
hope we didn't get a drop off of that Adam Schefter interview.
Oh, we definitely did.
Hey, listen, in the linchpin, Jamie wants to talk about something that's come back with the Phillies.
This is the linchpin.
Yeah, yesterday with Anthony Gargano and the Tunis, Nick Castellanos dropped that Dancing on Our Own is back. And look, if it works for Nick Castellanos right now, do whatever the hell is working, because that man is on fire. This, to me, screams of Hungry Dogs Run Faster and going back to the dog masks.
Does that bring back happiness or like, oh, no, seriously?
Well, I'm kind of conflicted on it. I don't really have a good answer here because now, like, when I'm on my deathbed someday, thinking back to my girls and Dancing with On Our Own and how much we would listen to it, and them waking up and asking if the Phillies won, and us playing Robin in the kitchen, like, it's like an incredibly joyous, happy memory for me.
All right, cool.
Even though they lost. Them going back to it, now the other part of my brain goes, oh, man, you're going back to the dog masks?
Yeah.
So I don't know how to feel about it, because on one hand, I'm like, well, if it works for you, go with it. On the other hand, I'm like, oh, really? Going back to the dog masks, huh? That's all you got?
You're hitting both sides of the story, exactly.
So, like,
what if Trey Turner comes in and he hates that song?
I know.
Stop it.
I'm more on the happy side. Like, if my, barometer, I'd be more on the happy side.
Had to move from one side to the other,
I'd
it would be more
on
towards
the
happy.
Your happy needle's moving?
Yeah, like, this is cool. I'm into it. As long as they're winning, I don't really care. But then part of me is like, oh, really? You gotta bust that back out, huh?
Connor, where do you go on it?
It almost smells desperate, you know?
It does.
I kind of wish they had a different fun song. But at the same time, I saw a great tweet. I wish I could attribute to who it was, but it was someone who was upset about the commentary about the song coming back, saying, it's not for you. And that kind of is the point, right? It's not for the fan base. As long as they enjoy it, and if they enjoy hearing it in the locker room and maybe they feel there's some magic in it still, that's all I care about. I care about whatever. Look, I've been wearing the same stupid shirt for like a week and a half every other day. I just care about what helps them win baseball games. And if they feel like that helps the locker room lighten up and feel like last year and helps them win baseball games, listen to whatever the hell you want to listen to. I'm not a huge fan of it coming back because I think it should have been left with last year. But at the same time, hey, they're the players. They're playing the game. If they like it, do whatever you want.
You know what? It makes me feel so happy that they feel happy that I'm going to give away 5 pair of FanFest tickets right now.
You're kooky. You're nuts.
All you got to do is call 215-263-0975. 215-263-0975. It's on Saturday, August 26th, 11 to 5 from Xfinity Live. This is the 10th anniversary of FanFest. It's going to be with FanDuel Sportsbook. Some very special guests are going to be there that we're going to announce in the upcoming days. There's going to be not one, but 2 national recording artists. It's going to be awesome. So right now, 215-263-0975. 5 people get a pair of FanFest tickets. Hey, Connor, you have something pretty interesting that you wanted to talk about, and I do think this is a pretty cool story. And it's about what's going on in Oakland right now.
Oh, I was going to say, I have this thing on my foot that I need to get looked at. But if you want to do the Oakland one, we can do that too.
No. Hold on. What's on your foot?
No, I'm just kidding.
Because that's weird you brought it up. I have a blister on the bottom of my foot that is the size of like $2 $2 put together.
Sorry, folks. This is on me.
At the beach.
I made a dumb joke, and it happened to be the exact thing wrong with Bob. Sorry about
you want me to show it to you now or later?
Hold it up to the camera so everyone on YouTube can throw up simultaneously.
And then get a tomato mayo sandwich for him.
Yeah,
so what's going on? And then put my feet to the fire. So what's going on in Oakland?
So the Oakland situation
pretty cool.
Really interesting. Last night was, one of the coolest singular baseball games that I've ever seen.
What are they calling it? The anti-boycott?
Yeah, it was like, the reverse.
The reverse boycott.
Yeah. So what they did, because no one's been going to Oakland games because they hate the ownership, and there's the conversation about them moving to Vegas, which it seems like at this point it's
all
impossible to stop. So more likely than not, like 99% chance, the Oakland Athletics are going to end up moving to Las Vegas as a new franchise, or I guess as like a change franchise, whatever. But the fans wanted to prove that the reason they were moving was not because of a lack of fan support. So they decided that for one game, they were going to just sell as many tickets as they could, go to the game, prove that they can show up when the baseball product is good, and then they were chanting like "sell the team" and basically crapping on the owner. It was actually a really good game. The Athletics ended up winning a close game against the Rays, who are the best team in baseball.
They've won like 7 in a row.
Athletics are high.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, I think that's probably the best winning streak in Athletics history. I can't even think of a close second. But it was a really cool moment to see how they, obviously the 20-game win streak, whatever. It was a really cool moment to see how that fan base is attacking losing their team. And it made me think about how Philadelphia would handle it if we were in the same situation. I've never seen anyone quite do it like this, though.
So they began the game, and I saw the story, but I didn't read into it. So if you can help me out here. They began the game, the fans did standing in silence.
So it was like the start of the 5th inning for whatever reason. They started standing dead silent. And then when the first hit was recorded or out was recorded, they all in unison started chanting "sell the team." And it was
27,000 plus they had last night.
It was loud in there, too. It sounded loud. There were comparisons because Vegas obviously won the Stanley Cup last night. And it's a perfect comparison because that's where the A's would be moving to. Mm-hmm. It sounded like the
Golden Knights, who have existed for 5 years and are way more successful than the Flyers have been in like 45.
Yeah, but the Flyers won a cup in their first 7 years, too.
Well, the Knights did in the first 6 years.
So they're comparable.
This ain't about the orange and the black. The point is, it was louder for a regular season baseball game in Oakland for a team that stinks than it was for the Stanley Cup champions in Vegas. So it was a really cool move by the fan base. There was one thing that was kind of an issue, though. They threw a bunch of trash on the field after the game.
Can't do that.
That kind of soured it for
it really did. You did something really cool.
But at the same time, you understand why you'd be so upset. You get to the end of that, and you had such a great night, and the team wins, and you have all that emotion. And as you're starting to come down from the high of, wow, we were the story of the sports world because we showed how great of a fan base it is, it sinks in that you're still losing that franchise.
If you're a player, the players in that clubhouse have to go, man, we hate our boss.
Yeah.
Because if you know that's there on a nightly basis and you're playing in front of 600 people regularly, and then you see that and you go, man, everybody hates our boss.
Right.
Like, this sucks.
Yeah. And
because we could have that.
Yeah. It's costing them. They could have opportunities for bigger contracts and things like that, but no, it just doesn't come in Oakland because the ownership is not willing to shell out and put a good product on the field. And
they just sell every good piece they ever get.
Yeah, it makes you feel for that fan base. It really does.
Has the Oakland A's been any good during your guys' lifetime?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with the Bash. I had the Bash Brother poster on my wall of McGuire. And
I was young, but I still remember
Ricky Henderson. Yeah.
Okay.
And they had those nasty pitching staffs, Moneyball era with Tim
the
Hudson,
Zito teams were
good.
Yeah.
My memory of teams and eras is it gets so
I feel like they always are really good once every 8 or 9 years.
They've always had the best uniforms in baseball.
Yeah, their uniforms
mixing
are
and
right.
And all.
Nah, it's a great uniform.
Because when I was a kid, the A's were phenomenal. They were in the World Series all the way. I was a little kid playing the Cincinnati Reds. And it was cool because, when I was little, you didn't see all the games the way you do now. And to see those uniforms pop on your TV.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
And they would change uniforms. What? That's a different home uniform than they had yesterday? Nobody did that in baseball then.
I'm a hometown guy. Phillies powder blues till I die.
Oh, you're a hometown guy? Well, then you should use the Bet Park Sportsbook app. Bet Phillies baseball all summer long on the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. The official sportsbook partner of the real Philly sports fan. Must be 21 in PA or New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'll do that.
That was, I
don't think it could have been any better.
That was the LeBron James lob where he dunked whatever Celtics player that was into the core of the earth.
CSB recorded that and is playing it for students the next time they are in class.
You're welcome, CSB.
Yeah, that was
you
pretty
say? I got something hometown for you right here.
I got your hometown.
The Bet Park Sportsbook app.
Attaboy. Hey, Colonel Seasons, it's available at Giant Foods. With Colonel Seasons popcorn seasoning, you can turn up the flavor on popcorn. Just add interesting with Colonel Seasons today. Available in the popcorn aisle. Hey, we get back. We're going to dip in a little bit more to the Doc Rivers. There might be some of you out there that didn't hear all the stuff we played. Some interesting things from him. Want to get some reaction? If you have some reaction to it, 610-632-0975. This is the John
A group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show here, 97.5 The Fanatic. John, I believe, is on his way or maybe there to get his first chemo treatment today. So we're all behind him, with him, wishing him the best. His doctor told him, Jamie, to go out and have a huge breakfast this morning.
Nice.
Before he had to do everything. So he was going to do that with his lovely wife, Christina. So, John, thoughts and prayers are with you, as you know, from us, from the YouTube community, who I just love and adore, and they love and adore us too, Connor.
Oh, do they?
At least sometimes, maybe once in a while.
I feel like there are
Always
times
good
where
talk.
they don't love and adore us.
That's fine. That's why we're here. We're here to
maybe
talk,
it's
and maybe
tough
people
love.
disagree and whatever. Yeah, I don't know. There's some people. I don't know. I think it's very good conversation on there a lot of times. Do some people not like certain personalities on here? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. Like, there's a guy who picks on me a lot. Philly 9, I think his name is.
He hates me
just
too.
doesn't like me.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
okay.
I've been meaning to tell you.
What, that's you?
Actually, I'm Philly.
Yeah. I figured as
Sorry
much.
it came out
Appreciate
this
the
way.
support.
But the talk on there is great.
Does he like me, Philly 9?
Yeah,
Jamie,
he loves you. You're the
there's
only
not
one.
a person on there that doesn't like you.
So, yeah, that's my burner account.
That's not true.
No, it's not your burner account.
There's
It's
a
just that everybody
Egan
loves Jamie.
79 on there that keeps hating on Jamie Lynch. But we're going to figure out who that is.
Scotty G on the YouTube just says, does Bob's headphones keep getting bigger? No, my face is shrinking. So that's what that is there.
I keep forgetting my headphones, so I keep grabbing somebody's randomly out of the locker.
What do you think you need when you come here to work? How do you forget your headphones?
I'm just happy to be here. I don't really think too hard.
Okay.
I don't want to work that brain out too much, you know?
That's a big brain
That's
you got
important.
going
You
on
gotta
there.
save it.
That is a great nugget. Now, where's that hat from? Is that from
Oh, this is my buddy's club down in outside D.C.
Yeah, they had to use 4 of the flags from the flag sticks to make the canvas for that.
Anytime I see an XL Imperial hat, I'm buying it. I don't give a damn where it's from, as long as it fits my dome.
Hey, every Wednesday this summer, go to the coolest happy hour on the planet, the Center City Sips Happy Hour. So it was Cam's birthday this past weekend.
What is it, like 11?
Yeah, I think so, right? Right around there.
Yeah.
Sure, let's go with that.
And congratulations to Cam again today for moving onward from 5th grade.
No, sorry, he wanted to turn 11, but some kid on his team had already turned 11, so he had to turn 9. Oh, were you not here for that day?
No.
Oh, coach is trying to broker a deal for Cam's preferred soccer jersey.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
Cam likes number 9, but he got number 11. But the kid who has 9 wants 10 and doesn't want 11. So now there's like this 3-way type of conversation going on to try and swap all the numbers. I said just tell him to play with 11.
Aren't there too many different battles to be waged instead of something like that? My kids were lucky. They all had odd numbers that they liked, weird numbers that they liked, and were able to get them.
Nobody else wanted them, yeah.
Yeah, but now I shouldn't say anything because it was always important for me to have my number in high school, and I did. I didn't get it in college, though. A kid took it.
I didn't get mine in college either.
No.
And I just went, well, I guess I'm number 8 now. Okay,
I got mine in
moving
college.
on.
18, baby. The
Well,
sheriff.
that's a different number. I had a common number 10.
18. What do you mean 18's a different number? I'm not wearing
for a
number
pitcher
72.
in baseball? That's kind of different.
No, it's not. 18? That's a very normal number.
I don't think I really noticed pitchers' numbers ever.
When I was little, and I can still do it from players from when I was younger.
Like, what's Aaron Nola,
name all their-
27, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
What's Zach Wheeler, 45?
That's
Yes.
where I'm at now. Kind of like,
I don't
think-
really notice them, but let me list out every single guy on the
No,
roster.
but I don't think I could tell you Ranger, Taiwan,
Taiwan's 99, I think, right?
I guess. I don't know what Ranger is.
40-something?
I have no idea. It never registers with me, the pitchers.
Bernie
I'm not a big
Morant was
numbers
number
guy,
1,
though.
Ed Van Imp number 2, Tom Bladen number 3.
This is great.
Well,
Larry
as a-
Ashby number 4.
As a
Larry
kid, I
Goodenough
used to
number
always
5, Mustafa
write down
number
the
6.
field
yeah.
of play, and then I'd put in the name and jersey number. So pitcher was never like a part of that. You know what I mean?
No, that's a great point. Did you ever do anything like that when you were a kid? Jot down
What do you mean?
things, like write down.
I would write out the
different
Eagles'
things.
offensive line and defensive line, and Reggie, Jerome,
Before
Clyde. fucking class.
Dude, I'm doing that still. What do you think I'm doing back there when you guys are doing the show? I'm writing out the Phillies lineup.
Not much of anything.
For
we
a
know
month
that.
ahead of opening day, I'm like putting out the defensive lineup, and I'm rotating through the
Here's my Sixers starting five. Here's
Silvana's over there doing some really good stuff. You, on the other hand, are
she's
doodling.
taking actual notes, but she's a rough one over here. We were talking about the jersey thing, and she immediately goes, "Tell him to grow up." I'm like, wow. I mean, well, the kid is 11, but in fairness, it was Coach's idea to try and change the number. So Coach does need to grow up a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of. So anyway, the way he used Matt Pagano last week, and I'd say that in a nice way. So it was Cam's birthday. He wanted to get a sheet cake that had a picture of Cam on it. Well, the bakery that he ordered it from closed down. Like, he called to see if his order was going to be ready on time, and it was like a recording saying we are no longer in business. So he was kind of in a rush. So so he called Matt Pagano, and Pagano put him in touch with a bakery that was able to get Cam's picture on the cake sheet.
Thank God.
Yeah. All right, I got something fun here that I wanted to do with you guys real quick. Well, it's not going to be real quick. It's going to take a little time here.
Take your time, Bobby. Take your shoes off.
This Eagles team. You guys have seen some really good Eagles football, and I put that on my notes. Connor, you've probably been watching since the Super Bowl of 2005 on.
Yeah, I remember sobbing on my staircase after Tom Brady ripped our hearts out.
Okay, perfect. And Jamie, I had you at probably around 1995 on, so right before the Andy Reid era, but mostly groomed during the Andy Reid era on, right?
For the most part.
I mean, you were a Randall guy.
Yeah, like in grade school. I was talking about this last Saturday, actually. Like the Trapper Keepers and contact paper, when you used to have to, like, you would make your own, like, book covers. Did you ever have to do this with your kids? Like the paper bag covers on your
bag covers, yes.
Yeah, on the textbook.
Absolutely.
And then there was contact paper for, like, non-hardbacks. And I used to always make Eagles collages, Sixers and Phillies collages under the contact paper and the Trapper Keepers and all that stuff. So, yeah, huge nerd.
So during your lifetime, I want to go through the Eagles.
It started, with the buddy defense. Like, I distinctly remember making, like, Reggie, Clyde, Jerome, Seth, Eric Allen, like, making those collages, like, very vividly, and Randall and all them.
And I told you guys that my greatest Eagles memory of all time, and I wish this on any kid that loves sports growing up, my favorite player as a little kid was Wilbert Montgomery. And I used to sit and watch games, and he would run, and I would put a dash. I'd put, like, 1, and then how many yards he got, and then I'd add it up after the quarter, add it up at halftime. That's what I did with Wilbert Montgomery. And then when I was about 12, 13 years old, I'm over playing outdoor basketball at the place where I always played. It was attached to a gym where a lot of the Flyers went and stuff. And who pops out of that gym and comes out and plays but Wilbert Montgomery?
Did you show him your...
So we were on the same team and stuff, and I don't know why he respected me and was really, really nice to me. And we got done playing. I used to run through these woods and go home. Well, the next night I go there to play, and there's Wilbert again. Didn't say a lot. Was an unbelievable athlete, obviously. But when he would dribble and stuff and go by people, he'd sound like a snake. He'd always go, he would do that. I'll never forget. So we get done playing one night, and he goes, "Hey, Bob, where do you run to?" I said, I live back through those woods over there. He goes, "Well, come on, get in the car. I'll give you a ride home."
That's pretty cool.
And so we got in a convertible with him and Charles Johnson. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember the name, yeah, sure.
Nose guard. So those two, it was a convertible. It was only a 2-seat convertible, and they had me sit like high up in the middle.
That had to be one of the best moments of your life.
I swear to God, rounding the corner on Valley Run Drive.
Everybody come out and look at me. I'm Bob Cooney. Get driven around by Wilbur Montgomery.
No, I didn't want anybody to see me because I almost started crying because I was so happy.
Is that Bob Cooney sobbing in a car with Wilbur Montgomery?
What the hell's wrong with you? That was Wilbur Montgomery Drive.
Did you imagine someone who doesn't follow football sees a young boy getting driven out of the woods by a guy sobbing in the middle seat?
That was like the coolest thing ever. I was lucky as a little kid to have that. For a kid that never asked for an autograph, that never went up to somebody and, introduced yourself or anything. That was pretty cool.
I used to send envelopes to teams all the time.
I remember you saying that. That's cool,
requesting autographs. Yeah, I'd send it to the Lakers and be like, "Here's an Eddie Jones card. Can you please sign it for me?"
And who came through for you?
It was real random and sporadic. I can't remember like a great one. A lot of teams sent back stuff, but a lot of it was like autographed, just like mailers they had for
threw it out.
Yeah,
oh my God, they didn't take the time.
I don't have any great story of somebody like signing something and sending it back.
So this Eagles team is currently constructed, and I'm doing your guys' lifetime because nobody cares how far back I go with this stuff. I'm wondering if you're seeing many of the greatest Eagles players at positions during your lifetime with this team. So let's go through it. All right, wide receiver. Who's the best of your lifetime Eagles that you've ever seen?
T.O.
So it's got to be T.O. Of course, there are 2 wide receivers. Maybe some cases 3 wide receivers. Who's your second and third?
Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
And then probably A.J. Brown.
I would take AJ over Deshaun just because I think he does more.
I don't know that he's been here long enough. Are we going like Eagles tenure, or are we just going skill of the player?
Well, look, the way I labeled this was is or could be.
I think
Is
AJ
or
Brown
could
will be better than Deshaun.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so you do have A.J. Brown on your. So we're going 3. So you have Terrell Owens, you have Deshaun Jackson, and A.J. Brown.
I'd
you
agree
have
with
Terrell
that.
Owens. Okay,
I'd
you
agree
have all
with the
3
same
of them
3.
too.
Devontae Smith could be better than Deshaun Jackson, though, too.
Yeah.
Deshaun was just so specialized.
Chance of 2. 1 definitely chance of 2.
And Deshaun
in your
also has so
lifetime.
many moments. Like
Yeah,
the
huge.
bomb from Vic, the return against the Giants. Like he's got
Falling in the end zone against the Cowboys.
dropping the ball.
Yeah.
Like he's a character. He's a legend here.
Yeah. I mean, great career.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
But he's definitely in the top 3, yeah.
All right, left tackle.
Jason Peters. Sorry,
Yeah.
Trey. Love you, but
Peters.
I'd go Peters.
Okay. Any chance Mailata takes over that?
It'd be hard to.
He'd have to be in Canton.
Okay. Left guard. There's so many of them. That's probably.
so hard
I mean,
to-
All right, let's do it this way. Let's do
Dickerson looks like
offensive lineman.
Dickerson looks like he could be the best left guard. I mean, to start out as an All-Pro in your second year.
Yeah,
Like, that's pretty good
damn
start.
good when he was a center.
Yeah.
Coming in. Jason Kelsey's probably good. You ever saw?
I'd say so.
I'd say
Careful
that's
on
the
that
biggest
limb you're out
lock.
on there, Bobby.
Yeah.
Right tackle.
Lane Johnson, not close.
Yeah, Lane's the greatest.
Not close.
No.
Well, you also had a guy over in John Runyon. who
Runyon was
a
great.
right tackle.
That's how good Lane is.
Yeah, but
Lane
Lane
is a
hasn't
lock
allowed a
Hall of
sack
Famer.
in like 2.5 years.
Tight end.
His stats are ridiculous.
Zach Ertz.
Yeah, it's Ertz.
It's any chance Goddard can overtake that.
No, not at this point. He hasn't been productive enough early on in his career.
Probably not, but he can get close.
Okay. Quarterback. And now, don't forget, could be.
It's McNabb.
Bradford. Okay, McNabb.
All right. Could Jalen Hurts become
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
that? All right.
Except Jamie throwing the towel on him.
Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. Give me
It's a lot harder on this side.
2 edge rushers. Is Brandon Graham one of the best you've ever seen?
Well, Reggie's one.
Yeah, Reggie's
So
before
you're
my
only-
time, but
you're
he's
only-
better.
I don't think you're going to get. Reggie White.
I mean, Clyde was pretty damn good.
All right, let's go. Your best defense. You didn't see Clyde.
No.
Let's go. Just defensive linemen as a whole. Does Fletcher Cox make it on your defensive line of your all-time Eagles team since you've been around?
Yes.
He's got to be. Yep.
He's going to Canton.
Okay. How about Hargrave?
No.
I know he's not on the team anymore, but we're going by. Is there anybody else on the defensive
Well,
line currently constructed?
I mean, I guess Jerome Brown, but he was a short sample size too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, Hargrave, I can't rule out yet. I'm trying to think of better D tackles. Like Mike Patterson wasn't, Corey Simon
Corey
wasn't.
Simon, yeah.
Mike Golick?
No. I mean, Hargrave has a shot at it.
I
Hargrave
guess so.
might
He
have a
just
shot.
hasn't been here that. Like he wasn't here that long.
Yeah, but he was really damn good when he was for those 3 years.
Hassan Reddick?
Bo Allen.
Is
The hope for every man, Bo Allen.
I mean, Hassan probably had. He's like a tweener. I'd almost rather claim him as a linebacker.
Could become, yeah, but.
But I mean, sack. What did he have? 17 and a half sacks.
19 and a half.
19?
Well, that might be
That was
including
including playoffs. Yeah.
It's one season.
Okay. Who's your best corners?
Eric Allen. And
You didn't have Eric Allen.
No.
So,
And then I'm choosing. Oh man, that's kind of tough. I would go Troy,
Bobby Taylor, Troy,
Leto, and
Sheldon,
were the four
Leto.
that came to mind.
It'd probably
Right.
be
Yeah.
Troy and Bobby would probably be the two.
Yeah, I'm
right?
going
For
Troy.
you?
Yeah.
I'm going
Okay.
Troy and EA.
But I'll tell you what, Slay's kind of in the conversation.
He's not. Yeah, I mean,
I thought you were going to bring him up in the conversation a little bit, too.
I don't know if I can put him. He probably has more accolades than Troy did.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
including like Pro Bowls and All Pros and all that.
And they
But
both came
also,
from other teams.
The era is a little bit different where you throw more now, so there's more
Sure.
opportunity for corners.
And
and
I
I
think
think
more opportunity to look bad.
There
and
is.
Troy, could get away with a lot more pulling and grabbing and a more physical style of
great point.
coverage. So that almost leads a little more credence to Slay because it's tougher these days to play corner.
So it's interesting.
Like
So
that's the toughest position on the field to play in the modern day NFL. I think is cornerback.
Yeah, easily.
yeah.
Because everything's stacked against you.
Yeah.
So I could be talked into Slay over Troy.
So just think how good this era of Eagles football is right now. You've been watching since, early 90s. Connor's since the, we'll call it 05 Super Bowl.
Oh, we're forgetting one.
Who?
Gabe Basine just slid in my DMs.
What's up?
Pick 6. Sante.
Oh, yeah, Sante Sam. Sante.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Samuel.
Sante Samuel, that's his name.
You all right?
No. I just had a brain fart.
Smile.
It didn't see good.
Ooh, that's tough.
That is. But the point being,
Namdi Asamoah, too. I mean, how could you forget?
Namdi, Byron Maxwell.
in
Put him
your
up there.
in your lifetime,
Barry
you
Williams,
guys
sconces.
you guys have a chance in A.J. Brown and probably will see one of the best wide receivers, one of the best centers, or the best center, the best right tackle on this current team I'm talking about. A chance that Jalen Hurts succeeds. Donovan McNabb is best. One of the best defensive linemen in Cox, and maybe Slay you put on there too.
And we haven't even said the name of maybe the best player in franchise history, who we both watched, in Brian Dawkins.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't go safeties
because current
because I don't think
safeties have
there's
no
any.
shot.
Yeah.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, this whole, right now in this era, we've had an amazing time.
Really have. I mean, and it all goes back to Jeffrey Lurie and everything that he's done and the hires that he's made and the players that those hires have gotten. I mean, we talk about a culture, and we were talking about it with the Doc Rivers stuff earlier, and we're going to dip into Doc Rivers a little bit more here. Has there been a better winning culture in this city ever than your Philadelphia Eagles over the last 20 years?
Jeffrey Lurie's the best owner I think the town's ever had, right?
Yeah. I don't think there's probably no doubt.
Is there anybody? I mean, I guess old Ed Snyder original days, but is anybody really close? I think Middleton in this group is probably the closest of right.
Middleton deserves some credit because
does.
what Lurie does works within a salary cap. Like, you're basically spending the same amount as other teams. Middleton is forced to go out and outspend other people, and that is a cop-out for a lot of owners. So that plays, but Lurie still has him easily.
Yeah, but by leaps and bounds, the best owner Philly's ever had.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Phantom Fireworks this 4th of July. The rockets' red glare and the bombs bursting in air are brought to backyards across America by Phantom Fireworks. Visit fireworks.com for a location near you. All right, Connor, we were talking earlier a lot today about the Doc Rivers comments to Bill Simmons. And the last one that we wanted to hit on here, and it's something that Nick Nurse is going to have to take up, and that's what it's like, the playing style of James Harden.
It was challenging, more because we were fighting two things, and not like visually fighting, is that James is so good at playing one way. And the way that I believe you have to play to win in some ways is different because it's a lot of giving up the ball, moving the ball, coming back to the ball. I would have loved to have him younger when that was easier for him, because giving up the ball and getting back the ball is hard. Like, it's physical, it's exhausting. So it'd been interesting if I had him younger, where he could have done that more, coming off of dribble handoffs, going down the hill. He didn't finish as well as he finished because he's older, and that happens. So yeah, at times, to get him to move it and play the way I needed him to play, I thought the first half of the year, I thought we were the best team in the game. I thought James was playing perfect basketball. Like,
I agree with you.
He was a point guard of the team. He was still scoring, but he was doing more playmaking and scoring. And then the second half, he started scoring more, trying to score more. And I thought we got stagnant at times. So I thought we changed.
Oof, it's damning.
It is damning. And if that was the case, that they were playing the best basketball in the league, and I've said this number numerous times, that they were at 1.46 and 16 when they were playing really good basketball, and it was Harden and Embiid, and everything was flowing properly. Is that so damning on Harden that, you had to change for you? Is that what Doc Rivers is saying and believing?
I think he's saying, James Harden doesn't want to play the way I believe winning basketball is played come playoff time.
Now, part of it, to me, goes to is Doc Rivers taking all that credit for that 46 and 16 run because Harden was playing so well.
Yeah, I mean, he basically hurt his shoulder patting himself on the back as much as he did in this podcast. But I do think, like, the only part, that's when I black out. When he starts patting himself on the back, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Get back to the truthful part where you were actually airing the dirty laundry, because that's the part I actually believe.
It was difficult. It was challenging.
I wish I had him when he was younger.
Well, it was funny. Before he said, I wish I had him when he was younger, it came into my mind, you want a young point guard.
Yeah.
Because what he wanted was, he wants a guy to dribble up the floor, pass, move,
and then get the offense in motion.
And then get the offense in motion, and then come back and get the ball.
Instead,
if
they run a
there's 8 to 10 second,
game.
and then you run the high pick and roll off of that.
Yeah.
It's all quick. It's all moving. It's everything that we all asked for during the playoffs. How the hell you can't get your team to realize, look, guys, this is the best basketball we play, and they say no to that? Or in particular, what Doc Rivers is saying, James Harden says no to that? I'm going to play my way?
That's basically what I took from it. To a degree, yes, because of what I saw with my eyeballs. And I saw a stagnant offense that had James Harden and Joel Embiid settling for bad shots and dribbling the air out of the ball, and nobody was moving. Like, Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey at times were either in the dunker spot or like the corner 3 spot, PJ Tucker as well, just standing and watching.
So let me ask you this, Connor.
Go ahead.
Did defenses play so differently that they took away what looked good before, and the Sixers couldn't figure it out? Therefore, to me, that comes down to Doc Rivers.
I mean, he definitely is not blameless in this.
No.
It certainly comes down to the head coach, but it goes back to the conversation we had before. Was James Harden listening? Was Doc Rivers willing to go ahead and change what he was doing? Is it stubbornness between two guys that they couldn't come to an agreement to make this work? Like, is the real, hearing all of these together brings me down to a base issue. Like, is the real issue that they couldn't figure out how to do it, or they couldn't figure out how to come to an agreement on a way to do it? Like, was it that they couldn't recognize the right way to play with James Harden, or is it that they had different ideas of that and they didn't institute either because they couldn't come to an agreement between them?
Well, I mean, him saying he wants basketball freedom makes you believe that he tried Doc Rivers' way.
Well, according to Doc Rivers, his way was the way when they were playing the best basketball in the NBA.
These two are so stubborn, I believe, Doc and James, that will probably never know the real truth. Like, I think they're just constantly going to throw the other one under the bus now, if they ever do talk about it again. Because I think James views Doc as, I played the way you wanted, and now I don't want to do that anymore. And Doc clearly thought James didn't play the way he wanted enough that he, I think, resents him for it. Because I think if, in Doc's mind, he goes, if James played the way I wanted him to play and coached him to play, and he showed me early signs of playing, we would have beaten the Celtics. And James views it as, well, if Doc had done something different or made some changes or gotten more creative with the offense, we would have beaten the Celtics. I think both of them blame the other.
Could game one of the Celtics, where Harden went off for 45 or 48, whatever it was, could that actually have been a detriment to the team? Where James Harden said, yeah, that's me. Now, you can bring back this other guy, but I need to have the ball because I'm 48 and 45 in game 3.
I know what you mean,
whatever.
But like, I can't say a game 1 victory because you needed him that night because there was no Joe. So like, I know what you're getting at, and I think there's something there, but I can't say it was a detriment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more than a facetious question.
Yes,
it's done with a cockeyed look because it's a silly one, but
there's clearly a problem between the two of them.
Now,
the more and more I hear Doc as the day goes on, like, there was definitely beef there.
And for Doc Rivers to come out and have to talk the day after a championship was won by another team, before he's been hired by someone, if he's going to be, there was a need there for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, he agreed to go on Simmons' podcast.
Like that, you can say no.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, Bill, oh, no, I appreciate you, but not yet.
Well, this is kind of something with Doc. He's talked bad about his old teams, kind of like the ones that haven't won. Obviously, the Celtics are kind of removed from this, but he had comments about the Clippers like after he left. JJ Redick took a shot at him on ESPN because that Clippers team that JJ was on. He said something about their heart, I believe it was, after he left L.A., and then JJ had a shot on, or their cohesion. I forget what the word was, but JJ brought it up after the Sixers went out and was like, oh, I wonder if their insert the word was the problem again,
Right.
Doc.
Right. Yes.
So, like, he does air dirty laundry when he leaves these teams. With
Damn, I
championship.
forget the exact word.
Yeah, I
know.
forget what it was, too.
Yeah.
But JJ clearly remembered it as a shot at the Clippers team.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
He seems to be a coach now that kind of wears on the players.
Yeah. And look, I mean,
maybe he felt the need to defend himself kind of with this Bill Simmons interview.
Maybe. And, look, James going to Vegas, I know, they can do what they want and they have a lot of downtime and they were off 8 days or whatever it was. Reports are that him and, Doc called him out for it at times and that wasn't well received. There's clearly a beef between the two. And we're never going to get the real story.
Seems like it. All right, speaking of beefs, I have to ask you if I should have one here.
Ooh, what kind of beef?
No.
Roast?
All right, I have to generalize this. So in my old profession, when you're looking to catch up with somebody, and you might have to reach out. Hey, James, do you have a number for such and such? Like we used to have a boss here. You got a number on him?
Yeah.
So I get a text yesterday asking me for someone's number. I always do the same thing. I will get in touch with that person first
and say
so-and-so's looking for you. Would you mind if I pass along your number?
Yeah.
Person, I said, what's it about? Had to go back, ask what's it about. Went back to the person. I said, yeah. I said, I will check and let you know. Then I got back and I said, let the person know. Sorry, he said he's not interested. Didn't hear anything back from the person that asked the number from me. Like, wouldn't you send back and say, okay, thanks for trying?
I appreciate you trying, yeah.
So I get the impression like, oh, what are you pissed off at me because this guy won't do something for you?
Yeah, there should have been a thank you text.
Yeah, I'm taking a little umbrage here.
Probably, but you shouldn't take that much.
I said a little umbrage.
There's a level of assumption in there that they're upset with you when they could have just been like, oh, okay, well, that.
I don't care if they're upset or they're gleefully
Still send
happy
a
with
thank
me.
you.
A thank you is thanks for trying.
You did a favor.
Thanks for the effort.
I got you, but this is like when you hold the door open for someone at the Wawa and they don't say thank you.
I hate that.
That
too.
drives me nuts.
I know, but then you forget about it in a second. So is it worth having beef over?
I think it can last a day, maybe.
A day? That's not a day worth of beef.
Actually, it didn't keep me up last night or anything like that. It was enough to bring it up to you guys right now, maybe to kill a minute on the show, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Jamie thinks I'm in the right here.
Yeah, I think you're cool.
You're not in the wrong. I'm just saying, I'm very anti-beef. So
Silvana's with me. I can tell.
Are you, Silvana? Nod your head.
She might be asleep. I asked her this morning, you like these
she
hours?
doesn't know what's going on.
He's like, no. Hate him. All right, we get back. We're going to talk a little bit more Sixers, a little bit, but we also have some Phillies, and believe it or not, some Flyers things that I wanted to pass over Jamie about.
Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Bob Cooney, Jamie Lynch, Connor Thomas.
Miss Rhonda hooked me up with some salted peanuts during the break.
I took some from
peanut
her
sack.
What'd you say?
It's a sack of nuts.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Okay.
They come in a sack, do they not?
I don't know if I'd classify this as a sack.
What would you classify
bag.
it as?
It's a bag of peanuts. It's a bag of
A
peanuts.
sack is a bag.
It's
Well,
not a sack,
but it's more a vertical bag. Like the bag to me,
sack to me
A
says
vertical bag.
a
sack to me says
isn't-
girth and width.
It's not
height.
plastic.
Most sacks do have a little bit of width to them.
But sacks aren't plastic. I think sacks are made of something else.
Damn it, Connor.
That's not plastic.
That's plastic.
It's
It's some type of other material.
I'll show it to the
not.
YouTube people. It's a more
I guess it is
vertical
plastic.
bag.
But it's not like the plastic bag that you get at like the Wawa.
Yes.
It's not a sack.
Right, that's a bag.
Right. It's not a sack. of
That's a
nuts.
sack.
That's not a sack. It's a bag.
I would say it's not a sack.
Yeah.
I would say this
Agree
is
to disagree, gentlemen.
I would say this is a bag.
Enjoy your nut bag.
Thank you. I mean, peanuts hit, man. They're
They
good.
slap.
So I had a little violation in my house concerning the peanut yesterday. So took a bag home from Miss Rhonda yesterday. Made myself a nice cucumber salad with peanuts, some cheese, some pepperoni,
Now, did you
a little zesty Italian seasoning.
what do they call the pet when you grind the nuts? The
Ouch.
no, the not a pedestal.
Oh, a
Pestle.
motor.
Mortar.
Mortar.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Did you do that to the nuts?
No.
Break them up?
No,
You just throw them in whole?
Yeah, just throw them in there.
All right. I like
So-
to break up my nuts when I make them in the salad.
I'm not into crushing the nuts. I just like to leave them big because they're more plentiful when you taste them. So I
We got so close to the end of the show.
So I made a nice salad yesterday, right?
Uh-huh.
The peanut bag, sack, whatever you want to call it.
It's a bag.
What sucks about it is it's hard to, once you open them, you can't really close it properly and just have it stay closed. So what I did was I put the bag on a paper plate, thinking if anybody grabs them and they spill out, whatever, and put it in the corner of the kitchen.
Oh, I
I guess this was 2 days ago.
I'm going to bring the Cooney house something on Friday because I have an extra at home that would have solved this problem.
Like a clip?
No, it's a resealer. It melts the plastic. You drag it across, and it airtight seals the bag.
No, that's what
That's
I
pretty
need.
cool.
I will bring you one on Friday.
So so this was 2 days ago. I had the salad. So yesterday I get home from work and I'm like, I'm going to make another cucumber salad because it was so good. And I look, and I'm like, where's the peanuts? And I was like, oh, I threw them out.
Oh,
I'm like, why'd you throw them out? And she goes, well, there was like some on a plate and the bag looked like it might have been empty or whatever. And I was like, but I was looking forward to that. I was genuinely hurt that I couldn't put the peanut because, like you said, peanuts, they make a salad pop to me.
they do.
I brought this up the other day.
And Addie brought out some nuts when we were watching the Phillies game on the porch the other day.
Crushed or
Actual peanuts that we had left over from a Phillies game.
ah?
And I was like, and it was great
Is that what you
having
said?
I was like, peanuts, like awesome.
She was like, "Wow, peanuts!
Oh my God. It's like we're at the ballpark. So yeah, peanuts.
All right.
Underappreciated.
I think they're properly appreciated.
No, because you're giving it credit for peanut butter.
Yes.
I'm just talking about the peanut itself.
Well, I told you before. The only I like peanuts. I don't mind. I'm not supposed. I think I have diverticulitis. I was told or something like that. So I'm not really supposed to have that much nuts.
Is that like scurvy?
and stuff? I don't know. I'm not supposed to have popcorn.
Really?
But I do. Yeah, because the kernels. That's how I found out I
Popcorn
had
lung?
it one night. Huh?
You have popcorn lung?
Yeah, something weird. I don't know.
That's a thing.
But peanuts, I only like peanut butter and jelly. Once in a while, I'll have peanut butter on like a piece of toast for breakfast.
Yeah.
Still say it like I was little. When I was little, I would say
Breakfast.
breakfast. But that's kind of pretty much it. I don't like peanut butter and chocolate together.
Oh, you're crazy. You and Ryan Westbrook. You guys are crazy.
No, we're not. We're normal human beings.
No. And by the way, we didn't do running back on your greatest Eagle.
I know we didn't. I saw that on the YouTube page. I apologize. Only because there's no current Eagle that obviously is your all-time Eagle. Who is your all-time Eagle bat?
It's between Westbrook and Shady, obviously.
Has to be.
Tough call, though.
That's a real tough call. Westbrook was better receiving the ball.
But Shady wasn't bad.
No, he wasn't bad. And
You have Shady as a Hall of Famer, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He's right on the doorstep.
He's fringe.
Yeah.
Westbrook and Wilbert Montgomery are my two favorite Eagles of all time.
My dad's favorite Eagle of all time, and I told Brian this when he reached out when my father passed, was Brian Westbrook.
Is that right?
And I was like, dude, thank you so much for reaching out
That's
today.
cool.
You were one of my dad's favorites.
Brian's a class dude.
He is.
Great guy.
Such a class dude.
That's a really tough one.
I do throw the football better than him, though, so I might have to go shady.
You know, it's funny. We saw Westbrook out it might have been FanFest, whatever it was, and he comes over and gives me a hug and stuff like that. And my friends who don't get impressed by very many things, and I forget which one it was like, "You're that close with Brian Westbrook?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's a great dude." And he's like, "He's one of the best Eagles of all time." He's one of my favorite Eagles of all time. Brian is such a great dude that you don't even think of the Eagles part of it because he's just such a great dude.
Yeah, there was a time he was on like one of those cooking shows, like the day
he was on Rachel Ray.
Yes, he was on Rachel Ray with his buffalo chicken dip. It was something to do with like football season.
I have a Rachel Ray cooking
It was
dip.
appetizers for the Super Bowl.
And my mom saw it, and she was like, "When you see Brian Westbrook next time, can you tell him I'm using his recipe for buffalo chicken dip?" So I texted him, and he was like, "Oh, tell your mom that's great and appreciate her watching." Like, he's just such a good guy.
That's one of my go-tos. My own, not his, buffalo chicken dip.
Oh, you're too good for Brian Westbrook's buffalo chicken dip?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
That sounds like what you're saying.
I don't think he's making mine.
If
I
you're
think
such
you guys
good
need to have a buffalo chicken dip off.
I would love to do that. Brian listens to this show very often. I get texts from him about the show.
Now, are you
so
a
if he's
blue
listening-
cheese? Do you do the blue cheese in your dip? Does Brian do
No.
the blue cheese?
I don't.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't make it. My mom knows the recipe.
We could
I'm
probably
not a
look
cook's
up
man.
Brian. No, I don't use blue cheese in my dip. It's pretty basic.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm a big blue cheese guy.
I use cream cheese in mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you may not always need a new water heater, but when you do, choose Bradford White. Bradford White is here for the pros.
Off the peanut conversation, my buddy Gabe wants to know if you've ever done the peanuts in beer move.
No.
That's a thing people do. At the ballpark, especially. You take it out of the shell. I made the
Is
mistake.
this what you talked about? I'm sorry.
No, but people down south do it in Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you drop peanuts in the beer.
I would do that in a heartbeat. I'm going to give that a try. I might try it when I get home in about an hour.
All right. Report back, please.
You should be jailed.
It's
Why?
You're ruining a perfectly good beer with peanuts.
You're
Are
not
you kidding
ruining
me?
anything. You have
Yes,
two
you are.
great items. You put two great items together doesn't mean you're ruining one.
more often than not, 2 great items together equal
That's just
quality.
false.
More often than not.
I like pizza. I like ice cream. I'm not going to put pizza in my ice cream. There's plenty of things that don't go together well. You can't just mix and match. What are you, a 5-year-old?
Yeah, but that's
he's
why I
got a
said more
good
often than
point.
not.
That's not true. More
Did
often
you-
than not, they don't go together. That's why we champion the great combination of
You
chocolate and
smush
peanut
them
butter.
together.
You literally
I'll
are
have
putting
ice-
the peanuts in the beer.
Well, yeah, but you can have two things that go well together that you don't have to put inside of each other.
Like, I'll take a bite of pizza and a bite of ice cream. Oh, my God. This is like a minefield of immaturity jokes. You guys need to grow
I
up.
wasn't joking. It just comes out sometimes.
No, he
That's
is
what
very
she
serious.
said.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, Phillies.
All right, Phillies. Great transition. Dynamite drop
Getting
in
better
there.
at this, aren't I? 15-3 win last night. 2 more against the Diamondbacks. 3 against the A's. You would think going out to
That's
the
a
A's.
bad
okay,
time to be going into Oakland.
You think it's a good time because they're on a winning streak? It's a
No,
good
I said
time
it's a
to go?
bad time to go into
Oh,
Oakland.
I thought you said it's
You know,
it's
you got
not
the
a bad
fans
time.
in a frenzy out there. They've won 7 in a row. They're kind of like on fire right now. I mean, I'm just saying, usually they're horrible.
Nah, they just had their biggest attendance of the year. No one's going to go again.
Yeah.
They got it all out.
But you're going into Oakland at the worst time to go into Oakland. That's all I'm saying.
See, I thought you were saying it's not a bad time because they can't keep this up because simply they're not a good baseball team.
No, but they could ride this for easily another week.
Really?
Not saying win 7 in a row, but they can go on a winning streak.
Well, they're at 7.
No, I know.
Are they going to go up to 10, 12, 13?
If the fans keep it up.
But
who
I think that
knows?
was a one-hit wonder,
Yeah,
wasn't
that
it,
was
Connor?
a one-day thing. They're not going to be back.
Yeah, so the Phillies will be
Okay.
playing in front of 800 people. Phillies are playing good baseball.
They are.
Yeah. What is the key to this? All right, we talked earlier about the numbers, James, and in order for them to get to 90 wins, they have to go something like, I have it right here, 57-38. Who has to either stay what they are, become more of what they are? What's the key here for this team if they're going to win 20 games over 500 in their last 95?
I think it's pretty simple. I think it's consistency from Wheeler and Nola. I think that's really it.
If you don't get it from Nola, but you get the consistency that you've gotten lately from Walker's been phenomenal his last
He's been
5
really
starts.
good, yeah.
Like 5 of his last 7 starts, I should say. Ranger Suarez maybe turned a corner. Can those guys overcome the every third outing being bad by Nola? Or do you have to have playoff Nola?
I think you kind of have to have locked in playoff type of Nola to go that much over 500 the rest of the way.
Yeah, I agree. Unless you do something that's majorly stabilizing to the 5th spot in the rotation, which I don't know if they have that option right now.
I agree with you. And you know, Jim, I haven't had this conversation with you about this 5th starter thing. I assume that you're on board with bringing up a McGarry, bringing up somebody, anyone.
Oh, I would have
be
McGarry up here 3 weeks ago.
Right?
I don't know what they're doing. You lose. I have to update numbers in my head real quick. I think they've lost 11 of the last 13 bullpen games.
That's pretty bad.
That's not a good click they're at there.
No.
I could be wrong on that, but it's something right around that. Like it was 9 of 10, and then they won a bullpen game. So I think I'm right. So yeah, why? Like, what's there to lose by bringing up Griff McGarry? He's 23 years old. Time to see what he's got.
Who Sanchez you could throw out there.
I don't want to see Christopher.
Yeah,
Sanchez. That
I
feels
don't
like
care.
a bullpen game.
I don't want to see him either.
Sanchez
I don't
is a
want to see a
bullpen game to
bullpen.
me.
Yeah, that's a bullpen game. Don't half-ass it. Bailey Falter, Griff McGarry, I don't know, or go get somebody serviceable that at least can give you like 5 innings right now.
Why did Falter go to A? Why did he go to Clearwater?
Sometimes they send guys further down to work on certain stuff because AAA is guys that are trying to make. There's this weird thing with levels where sometimes AAA doesn't lend to the most comprehensive rehab assignments or.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be AA to face the best quality hitters?
It could be. There could be weather. It could be a rotation thing too.
Do you see Clearwater's record?
Right, but
they're like 44 and 45
they have
and 14 or
a
something.
72% win percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have Mick Abel in AA. It might be something with just the rotation that there was a spot for him down there.
I don't know, but yeah, Griff McGarry, come on down.
So bullpen games. Sunday afternoon, I'll take you back to this. I brought this up yesterday, but you weren't here, so I want to ask you about this. Sunday afternoon, they beat the Dodgers 7-3. They take out Rob Thompson, not they. Takes out Taijuan Walker, 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned run, 83 pitches. 5th inning. Takes him out and then proceeds to use Soto, Sir Anthony, Alvarado, and Kimbrel out of the pen to win the game 7-3 over the Dodgers. Those 4 bullpen names that I just mentioned are probably your 4 best bullpen pitchers.
Definitely.
You had the very next day in Arizona a bullpen game. All of those guys unavailable.
That doesn't make much sense.
Phillies wound up losing 9-8, giving up a 5-1.
Should have not lost, but
should not have lost.
But it was a bullpen game.
They're a 500 team. We all think they should be better than that at this point of the season. How much blame are you giving to Rob Thompson? Where's Rob Thompson sitting right now as far as your fan factor?
I think he's been borderline bad. Best I can give him is like a C.
What's bothered you most and what has he done well? I mean, the best thing he's done, I mean, it's obvious to me and Connor, baseball guys, it's not that obvious to you, is to put Schwarber at the number 1 spot. I mean, that's winning baseball.
I don't know why you can't see it.
Yeah.
Did you watch the home run?
Yeah, no, he is 18 home runs now and 36 RBIs. That's great for a team that needs run production and home runs. Let's.
I'm not going to argue on this because you know I agree with you.
Jamie is kind of right though. I'll give him a little bit.
18 home runs,
absolutely right.
36 RBIs. That's hard to do
because he hit a solo shot against the Dodgers that it really annoyed me that it was only 1 run because if not they would have walked it off by more than that. And the only reason he was up in that inning was because he was batting leadoff. Otherwise, it would have been someone else with 2 outs in the 9th, and you would have had to go to extras.
Yeah.
And if last night was the 10th inning instead of the 1st inning, someone would have been on second when he led off the 1st inning.
Why you got to take my hard-earned work and put something unrealistic out there, undermine it?
Because it is ridiculous that they have to go to these extremes to get a leadoff hitter. But like I wrote earlier this week, sometimes baseball's just inexplicable.
Yeah, like why you would waste one of the best home run hitters in the National League with no men on base constantly is beyond me. But I'm not paid to be.
He kick-started an offense last night that scored 15 runs.
He kick-started it.
And it probably would have been kick-started if he was hitting in the 3 or 4 hole, too.
We don't know that, though.
Well, maybe the best thing that could happen is, all right, you ride this June Schwarber out a little bit, okay? You're 8-3 over your last 11 with him leading off. Great. Just what you wanted. Maybe you ride this out. Maybe Trey Turner has found himself, and maybe ultimately by the end of the season, your lineup looks like Trey Turner, Bryson Stott, Bryce Harper, Schwarber at 4, Castellanos, and then you're filling out a real
That's
lineup.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Schwarber at the top just makes no sense to me. Like, there's no...
It is inexplicable, but you have to agree with it for now.
Do I?
8 out of 11, you have to, yeah.
Yeah, but I can't get... It's not like Kyle Schwarber batting leadoff is the sole reason they're... Mostly you're getting great pitching performances from your starting rotation, and the bats
doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and the bats have woken up. Like, I can't attribute that to Kyle Schwarber. What I can contribute to Kyle Schwarber is it's the month of June, and he starts going nuts for whatever reason. Does he have to be batting leadoff to go nuts? I don't think so.
But it appears that the team wins better when he is batting leadoff.
No, because
he's hot in June.
Every manager panics in April and May. They have him at leadoff, and they're like, oh, wait, he's really struggling, so let's put him down in the order. He continues to stink because he stinks in April and May, and then they go, oh, let's move him back, like right around June every year. Let's move him back to the leadoff. He's comfortable there. And then June Schwarber happens, and they go, see, this is why he's a leadoff. He's most comfortable here. And it's like, no, it's June.
It's the life cycle.
June.
It's the life cycle of Kyle Schwarber. Listen, Salmon just randomly
So just keep him
swim
in a
upstream.
power hitting position and be patient enough to get to June, and you'll start seeing these 18 home runs instead of being 36 RBIs. They'll turn into 54 RBIs.
No, that's not going to work,
Yes,
Jamie.
it
You mess
will.
up the flow of the ecosystem, and then maybe he's not good in June.
Stupid. Don't get me started on this again.
We already have.
18 home runs and 36 RBIs.
You seem pretty started.
But he only has 84 strikeouts.
I don't care. He's your best power
I
hitter.
was being facetious.
Yeah. Well, how many does he have, actually? Let me look it up, because that's probably...
I think he's in the 80. He's got to be close to 80.
He is at 81.
It is laughable. It doesn't make sense.
But like
Tim
Tim
Kirchin said when he was here, sometimes baseball just doesn't make sense.
46 home runs. If you see that on a guy's stat line, you go, oh, there's
111 RBIs.
115
Yeah.
RBIs, 120. He had 94 last year. You're just wasting the best home run hitter in the NL.
Yeah, they went to the World Series.
And lost.
I think it worked out.
And they would have won the World Series if he was batting cleanup.
They went 65 and 46 as him as the leadoff hitter from June on. 65 and 46. You can't just shrug that off, though.
He's batting 177. He's a negative WAR player.
But they're winning.
Not
Are they winning
because
in
he's
spite
leading.
of it?
Yes.
But when he wasn't leading off, they weren't winning.
Because it was April and May. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
You are. Stop trying to figure it out. It works. Just let it happen.
Just be patient. Get to June and have him in a power hitting position. It's really quite simple.
But you have to have him there now.
Why?
Just
because
accept that
they
Kyle
win
Schwarber,
in June when he's hitting well.
He doesn't exist in our realm of reality, all right? He is not bound by the mortal physics that we have to adhere to. He's just a different entity that only is good in June in the leadoff spot, and the team wins.
18 home runs, 36 RBIs.
Yeah.
That's like 2 runs for every time he hits a home run.
I'm going to look up the home run leaders around the league and see how many guys have 18 home runs, and I'll tell you their RBI production, and you're probably going to go, wow, this is so dumb.
All right, I'm gonna do this. You won better.
Oh, yeah?
What did I just do?
do this.
I'm gonna do this. You won better.
Smile, Bob.
Let's look at his. No, I'm good. Now you got me all. I can't believe I'm even fighting something that I don't believe in. And that's total honesty here.
Why did you wind
him
me
as
up?
a leadoff hitter. He started on June 2nd is when...
weird. How about that? It's almost like, he's going to be hot in June. I'll put him in the leadoff spot, and then, this new era of baseball people will think I'm a genius because Kyle Schwarber's comfortable with the leadoff. No, just keep him in a power hitting position, and he'll still hit home runs. He'll just have more RBIs.
You can talk as fast and as loud as you want. It doesn't mean he's not going to
do all the imitating voices because I like them too. 2 for 5 with a run scored. 1 for 5. 2 for 5. 2 runs scored. 0 for 2 with a run scored. 3 walks. 1 for 3. 0 for 3 with a run. 2 for 3. 3 runs scored. 0 for 3. 0 for 5. 1 for 4 with a run scored. 2 for 5 with 2 runs scored. Like those are leadoff numbers.
Okay. All right. Here's all right. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in Major League Baseball with 18 or more home runs. I'm going to read for you. There's only one.
Is there really?
Yeah. So it's Pete Alonso, Ohtani, Soler,
Acuna.
Judge, Olsen, Muncy, Schwarber.
Oh, Acuna's not out there?
No, he is. He's close, though. I lost him.
Never mind, not important.
Yes. RBI total. You're not gonna believe this, Bob, but he's the lowest by far by four RBIs, and Aaron Judge has 40, and he was on the IL. It's dumb. I mean, listen to these RBI totals from the other guys with 18 or more. 49, 50, 40, 45, 45, 36. And Soler has 39. He's close, but Miami's just weird.
Are they winning?
Most of these teams are winning teams except Pete Alonso. The Phillies are below 500, so no, I can't say they're winning. They're playing better baseball now, but they're below 500.
They're winning baseball now with Schwarber at the leadoff spot.
They're below 500. Like, I can't say that they're a winning team right now.
Guys, I think we've really made progress today. I think if we do this a couple more times, we might actually get there.
It's going to be a show topic tomorrow.
It really puts my brain in a pretzel. But he's got a 323 on base.
He's hitting 256 since he took
He's also
over the
not a
leadoff
fleet
spot.
of foot. Why do you want to?
He had a triple
the other day. Are you kidding me? What is wrong with you?
I don't know. I grew up in an era where leadoff hitters got on base and were able to
now he's shouting at the clouds.
Score.
The old man over here.
No, because if Nick
back in my day, they could run fast and steal bases.
If Nick Castellanos is coming up in the 2-hole and hits a double, is Kyle Schwarber scoring on it?
If he's on third, yeah. Or second.
Second's not even
scored from his solo home run.
If he's on base, because all he does is hit home runs or walk. Like, there's really not much in between. So he's either on first base or he's scoring. So most of the time he's going to be on first base. Is he scoring when Nick Castellanos hits a double?
No.
Is Trey Turner scoring if Nick Castellanos hits a double?
From the dugout.
Maybe if he doesn't trip.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Trey Turner wears those oven mitts. They could slow him down.
Yeah.
He's less aerodynamic.
Is Bryson Stott scoring if Nick Castellanos hits a double?
Probably.
Okay. Case closed. Thank you for coming to my talk.
I remember the first time you said you were arguing with Kincade about something, and you guys sit across from each other, and I sat where you're sitting now. And I remember the first time Jamie said, "Am I taking crazy pills?" Pat Egan was saying in my ear, "All right, break it up. You need to be the judge here. Break it up." I was laughing so hard, which you guys have seen I do once in a while. I couldn't break it up because you said, "Am I taking crazy pills here?" And you were legit mad. Well, not mad. You were legit arguing a point.
Yes.
Am I taking crazy pills here?
Because when
Still
I believe in something,
lines.
yeah. Well, it's the famous Megatu, obviously, Bob.
Yeah, I knew that.
Of course you did.
SleepHealthyPA.com. Do you snore? Maybe you think you have sleep apnea. Check out SleepHealthyPA.com. Finally, a sleep solution you've been looking for. That's SleepHealthyPA.com. All right, we talked about this a little bit earlier. First off, real quick, I did bring up Flyers earlier. They fired, what was her title?
Camilla something?
But a title of title enough that a lot of people said to me, "Oh, look who's in charge of the Flyers now. Look who's..." Well, she steps down. You lost the GM earlier, an owner earlier. Were the Flyers even worse off than we thought they were? I mean, we all thought they were pretty bad, but look at the turnover that has happened over the last 1.5, 2 years. No, they just were as bad as you did think.
I think they had people pulling in different directions. I think there was probably some that believed a tank.
Old school? Okay.
Yeah,
tanking?
Like a tank last year.
Okay.
I think that's why Chuck Fletcher was gone, because I think word got out that he passed over deals and didn't he didn't wave the white flag in time. Like, you should have sold JVR for a bag of pucks. And, a fifth round pick.
Pucks.
Yeah, I guess a sack applies there. So I think, and then you have Comcast, who obviously wants to make it a profitable business entity and wants, a Tony D'Angelo here to help sell tickets. I don't know. I just think internally they were getting pulled in 3 or 4 different directions, and there was no overruling iron fist.
I get, and so the Valerie Camillo story comes out a couple days ago. She's CEO of Comcast, of Spectrum Entertainment. The turnaround is unbelievable. And you bring in a Keith Jones and a Danny Briere, and they've both been on our air on the morning show, and they've been great. And all the things seem to be turning around, and they seem to not be mired in untruths, which is kind of what this organization. But the turnaround, to me, it hit me when Camillo retired the other day. Wow, this is just a total strip down of upper management. I guess it needed to be done, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, now Patrick Sharp's in as what's his role now?
As oversee. What did they call it? Advisor.
Advisor,
I believe.
Some sort. Yeah, player advisor.
Yeah. Well, at least you didn't bring back somebody from the 70s and 80s.
And he's very handsome. Good head of lettuce.
So he did a lot of TV work also, right?
Yeah.
With Jones?
Yeah, they probably knew each other from TNT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it sure seems like, first order of business, and I don't know if that's Tort's his impression after 1 year was like, hey, Keith, Danny, like, a lot needs to change here. This was a mess, man. We can't continue on like this. Because I would think, Keith and Danny was in there. If I had to guess, Danny was in the room for some of these passed over trades that Chuck Fletcher didn't make. And then they started calling around and going, oh, wait, we could have traded JVR. Oh, wait, you could have traded Kevin Hayes.
I agree with you.
And word got out that he didn't blow it up, and then it was time to go. So I think they're listening to Torts and Danny here, and Keith Jones is going, yep, I agree. Change is needed, overhaul, top to bottom. Danny said they were changing strength and conditioning guys. They were changing player development guys. He's like, when he was in with First Friday with us, he said, yeah, it's like everything's getting changed.
Yeah.
So clearly it was probably worse than we even knew. And we thought it was bad.
It has to be. That's what amazes me, because we thought it was so bad. Now it just appears that it's even worse than we ever thought.
Yes, I would say so.
And that's scary. So my old boss, Pat McClune, I don't know if you were here when I told this story. He was down the shore a couple weeks ago. Plane goes over, and it says, hey, Mr. Roberts, please sell the Flyers.
Oh, wow.
So Pat McClune sends that text to me and Eddie Barkowitz. And I send back, what did it say on the other side? Love John Tortorella? But it's happening. This turnaround is just, it's what was needed. You needed a fresh start, whether it works or not.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll see. Danny Briere would say the same thing, as would Keith Jones. They're confident in themselves and each other. We'll have to see how the rest of it plays out. All right, real quick before we get out of here, we started the show by saying, are the Phillies in that kind of got to win this game attitude right now? Is tonight one of those with Ranger Suarez having gone 1-1 with the Diamondbacks so far?
Nope.
You got to start changing your tune.
I got to win one of the next two.
The shirt is helping them win, and
no, it's not. The shirt is a byproduct of them winning.
Let them play loose. Let them have fun. I think this is a game that you want to have, but it's a good team still. If you get out of Arizona with a split, considering you're playing the Athletics, despite their hot stretch, you can beat that team consistently. A split in Arizona is fine. You just need to win one of the next two.
Not there.
These Gen Z kids, I don't
right?
know.
It's a loser mentality. Yeah, let's stay 500. It means we're not below 500.
Don't panic yet. There's a lot of baseball to
still
play.
95, 85, 65, 45. There's still 30 games to go.
Ooh.
He's got a lot of good imitations, doesn't he?
But I don't know what any of them are. None of them fit. They're all entertaining, but it doesn't fit.
No, I think they do fit. Like, that sounded like the normal baseball fan to me.
Oh, there's a lot of games left to play. I'm a baseball fan.
A normal Stones baseball fan, but a baseball fan nonetheless.
You need to be patient. You're taking a football mentality into baseball.
Hey, we want to thank you for joining us today on the John Kincade Show. You, ours, all of ours, prayers out to John today as he begins his journey, which is going to be a successful one. So we appreciate you all chiming in on that. John's hoping to be back here and probably will be tomorrow. That's what we're anticipating. So please join us again here tomorrow morning on the John Kincade Show. I got to tell you to remember to support life-saving cancer research. Join me and our generous partners, the Davis CPA Group, in making a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research today at 975thefanatic.com/AACR. Cancer research, it saves lives. Anthony coming up next with the Tunis. Stay tuned for that. We will talk to you tomorrow at 6 a.m. This is the John Kincade Show here at 97.5 The Fanatic.